The court, being duly advised, finds the defendant is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death.
The two best numbers geeks at the network, plus a third back in New York.
Unmuted. Hi, everyone. I believe I am unmuted for once. Welcome to R&M on this lovely Wednesday night. Thanks for everyone for joining on such short notice. I decided that I wanted to talk about the hearing that's coming up on Friday. So first of all, I'm going to say hi to everybody. Why am I blurry? Yeah, it wouldn't be an R&M live if we didn't have some tech issues. Let's see if I can't unblurry myself. Hold on. Don't go away. That's quite annoying. There we go. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. We have, I'm going to go to the beginning. Hey, Fiend, my friend Tony. Tony is an OG. Tony goes way back. Tony is one of the original, one of our friends from before the arrest, right, Tony? Now the resolution's too high. Oh no, Fiend. I don't know what to tell you. Who else is here? Hi, Christine. Chelsea. Love Chelsea. My friend, Criminal Network. Very nice to see you. Tammy! Tammy's my fucking girl. Dean. Hi, Dean. Nice to see you, Dean. Rochelle. Kelt. Hi, Kelt. Remember that time I had you blocked accidentally? That was really weird. I don't know how that happened. I don't even... Thankfully, we got that rectified. Nice to see you, friend. Who else is here? Woman. Woman doing impossible things. We need a shorthand because I just call you woman. I guess that's acceptable because you are indeed woman. And you're wonderful. Hi, Heather. Kel, I will bet you that you'd be hard pressed to be blocked more than I am. No, please don't block. Please don't block Kel again. We made that mistake one time. We don't need to do that again. I don't even know how that happened. I probably did it accidentally. Like that time I accidentally I think it was on Dan's channel. He made me a mod, and within 5 minutes, I went to highlight a comment and I accidentally hid somebody from his channel. And then I got blocked. It was an accident. Who else is here? Who did I miss? Hi, Matthew. Nice to see you. Everyone loves to hear that. Too high. Too clear. Hi, Kay. Love Kay. Hi, Jen. Lafayette. Welcome to a Hoosier named Carla. No, thank you, Fiend. Ma, wife, Fran, comrade. Okay. This is a great suggestion. Don't listen to silly people saying silly things unless they're like harmlessly silly, like talking about cryptids or the Weircat full moon, which reminds me. Okay. Oh my gosh, Heather, congratulations. A great auntie of twins as of late last night. Less than 4 pounds. Wow. They're going to be feisty. Hello, lurker. I love lurkers. I used to be one. I miss it. I hope to be one again one day. But you are welcome here, and you are always welcome to lurk. I don't know what this... You're laughing at something, Fiend. It's probably funny. Hi. Okay. So, first of all, I have 2 awards to give, which is exciting. I have a thing planned. I planned a thing tonight. So we're going to start with what I'm going to call, oops. I was going to say, Heather, I don't think you're old enough to be a great auntie. But congratulations. It's really nice. Healthy little babies. I love that. I do remember that. It was funny. Okay. So, let me see. I think I'm on, I have like, well, y'all don't need to know my technical woes. So, first thing we're going to do, if I could figure out how. We're going to go to the CCS feed. Not much has happened this week. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more filed this week. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. But, I mean, I guess not knowing what the hearing on Friday is really about. I mean, status hearing could be anything. I'm going to put my vote in for, like, probably jury selection related things, jury questionnaires or, yeah, something. But do I have a funny filter on? I have my this light will probably last like 30 minutes and then it'll die and we'll go back to being like regular. Okay. Yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I agree, Fiend. You think that they're doing like some offline, not like inappropriate ex parte, but just like some offline, maybe communicating amongst the parties and the judge. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of odd that we're having a status hearing without a ruling. I mean, it's been 3 weeks. You know, she's had these under advisement for 3 weeks, plus all the months and months and months that she's been sitting on third party, you know, evidence. So it shouldn't be like brand new to her, but I don't know. Hey, Kayla. Nice to see you, Kayla. Kayla with my favorite profile picture ever. I always laugh when I see it. It's just cute. All right. Share my screen. My mouse is really loud and clicky. Somebody told me that, and I agree with them. So I'm sorry if you have like, you know, if it's annoying to you. It's annoying to me too. I don't know what to tell you. We're going to have to just suffer together. So we've got correspondence. What? Correspondence? Correspondence to the court. Now, I'm going to do a thing that may surprise you, but if I can. I would have loved to Oh my God. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be great. Oh. Nope, that didn't work. Okay. Anyway, we had correspondence filed. Does everybody remember what was filed this week, or did anybody not see it? Somebody probably known to you. What is going on? Why am I struggling so hard right now? Okay. Now I'm getting irritated. That's not good. Gull is back to her old ways. Okay, so I want to see everybody's predictions while I do this, because it'll give us something to do. What does everyone think is going to happen on Friday? Hi, Christine. Me too. Oops. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, I know what I was doing. Okay. Is it PG? Right now it's PG. Gull is going to show up late. I like this, Thomas. I absolutely agree with you. I think she will show up late. I think she'll have a glass of water with her, which we love. It's good. It's a good thing. Charges dropped. That'd be cool. Gull's gonna, swing back to the other end of the spectrum. Like the bad end, like the bad place. Is that what you're thinking? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking. She'll bust a phone. She has done that before. Christine says rescheduled. I would be annoyed by that. Who's here? What was that noise? Oh my God. I'm sorry, Fame. He says, as soon as I say the channel is PG, the camera goes blurry again. The trial's never going to happen? Do you really think so, Criminal Network? I know that Courtney has been saying this from the very beginning of time, that she just, and I agree with her. I mean, the thought of a trial actually occurring, it's just bananas. Judge Gold does like to Hulk smash an electronic or two, which does feed into Fiend's theory about her being
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
DB. Where have you been? I haven't seen you. I haven't talked to you. I feel like it's like you've dropped off the face of the planet or something.
I've been around.
What's you been
I've
doing?
been around the world.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Interesting. You see anything good?
That was live footage.
Oh, duh.
That,
You're on a plane right now.
Sorry, not live. That was lost footage.
Lost
That
footage.
was live leak.
Yeah.
I recovered it.
Well, we're very glad that you did. Welcome. Did
Thank
this
you.
man make himself an intro? No, that just happens. Like, it just kind of manifests itself.
You know what? They sent me that, and I thought that was really nice of them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
There was
DB,
a
what do you
whole scene in a Marvel movie about me. So I just decided to take it.
What's your Marvel character called? Is that a stupid question? Is it just DB Cooper?
DB Cooper.
Duh. What's gonna happen Friday?
Well, I think a lot of people are gonna complete their timesheets.
Okay.
They're gonna submit their pay to get
Yeah.
paid this week. A lot of people are gonna get maybe a check. Some people are gonna go grocery shopping. Some people
Right.
are gonna buy a 6-pack of beer.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna buy a 12-pack.
What are you gonna buy?
I couldn't even tell you the last time I looked at my bank account.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's whatever shows up from Amazon, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Must be well, you travel so much, you know?
Yeah,
Jumping on planes.
I've been around.
Okay.
What do you think's happening Friday?
I have no idea. I think that the closed hearing is probably going to be unremarkable, I hope. I think it's probably just going to deal with like administrative stuff and like jury selection stuff. Or they're going to have like a closed door discussion about her rulings. Maybe she's anticipating someone not being happy with them. I don't know.
You know, I hear people saying they got ministerial stuff to do. They always say that word ministerial when it comes to this case and when it comes to her decisions. So the only time I hear that word, I like that word. I think it's like the administration of something.
Interesting.
Somebody Google it.
Yeah, someone Google it, please. Put in the chat. Maybe use it in a sentence. Yeah. Okay. You think it's going to be like a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing?
Well, you know, I'm really neutral on this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think regardless of what happens, I think it'll all be the best thing for justice in this case, because justice is a real thing. It's not a construct at all.
Justice is. I'm gonna reserve my thoughts on justice for a minute or two because I don't want to start the night off on that foot.
Yeah, we don't even know how long that the closed door meeting is going to be, and I would think if it was suspected to be bad, the defense would object, or ask her to put something on the record of the reason why it's closed.
Why haven't they?
I just think that it's not that interesting, probably.
They probably know what it is already.
Yeah. Big fish, small pond. The pond is not that small. You should be a little bit more confident. I think you're a big fish, medium pond.
I have something. So I have 2 awards to give tonight. The first award. Can I do it right now?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Thank you. So the first award, I'm going to call it the Unlikely Hero Award. And
who's that going to?
I'm going to tell you in a second, sir. If I can find it. Here's our Unlikely Hero Award. Oh my God. Amazing. How do I get...
Wow.
What do you think, man?
I think that's a damn fine award.
Isn't that a good award?
I think so.
So,
no, go ahead.
Nope, no, you go ahead. I want to hear what you
I think that pestering really goes a long ways, and I think that a lot of us, think that, you're in the YouTube comment section every day. Hey, guys, love y'all. We're all in there together. You know what I mean?
We are.
A lot of the time, we're like pestering people over here on this platform.
Yeah.
We're sending emails. I haven't sent any emails, but, we're pestering in our own way. But you pester, even if you're completely wrong, like,
yeah,
even if your track record shows that, maybe you're not actually that concerned about people's rights. I'm not talking about this gentleman here in particular, but I think that people could do something that's pretty fucking cool, dude.
Right.
So,
I think that we're here to report.
Yeah.
Go away.
I'm a journalist.
Right. I would say so. And I think that exercising our civic duty and our right to participate in the justice process as citizens, especially citizens of Indiana. You know, I think it's a
Yeah.
good thing. I love it. I wish more people would put the court to task and
Yeah,
ask
bug
more
the fuck out of them.
questions. You know, heavy
So
metal.
there's a thing I've heard about this type of thing that people do. It's like a lot of times what people jailhouse lawyers do and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's called, filing the nice guy motion.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've told you about this, where a lot of the time all you have to do is bug the shit out of the court. Like, this is not some insane ruling that they would have to make to be, to lower the fees. And like a nice guy motion is if you just write the court on your case and say, hey, I'm a really nice guy and I'm filing a motion to have other people come in and say that I'm a nice guy for an appeal. If you write it in the proper form, as in the proper case law cited, even if it's stupid as fuck, the court still has to respond to you.
They sure do. Yeah. I think more people should do that.
Yeah, write it in crayon.
Write it in
Whatever you
crayon.
got to do, write that shit.
Yeah. Write it with your opposite hand. Write it backwards and mirrored. Some people can do that. Freaks.
Yeah. Did you guys know that Mothman can do that? She can write forwards and backwards.
You can write mirrored. I don't know why. I don't even think it's something. It's not even a skill that I practiced. I just know how to do it. What do you think that means?
Can you guys do that?
Yes, he wrote a letter to the court. I think I have it.
Pull that shit up.
I'm gonna pull that shit up. That's what I'm gonna do.
Would you do that? I'm gonna pull some other shit up.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Why don't you do that?
We're all about pulling shit up. But I think it was a damn fine letter. It was a great letter. It was a damn fine letter. I'm surprised Luke didn't come in and judge the letter. Where's Luke at? Luke, thoughts on the letter? No thoughts? Lucas? Luke is cloning my voice right now as we speak. Who thought the letter was cool? Anybody? Hey, chat, question mark. Well, hey.
Wait, I have
Jenny.
a runner. I have an honorable mention though. Can I do that?
Yeah,
really
go ahead.
Okay. I have an honorable mention because I said we were celebrating the Weird Cat blue moon, full moon, and I said,
What'd you say? What'd you say? Something.
Don't worry about it. Fee knows what I said.
Weird cat or
Weird cat. This is our honorable mention. I said whoever creates a depiction of Fiend sharing spooky stories to us under the Weird Cat full moon wins a prize, and this is the prize.
okay. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I know.
But it's super fucking unrealistic.
Why?
Okay, forget the Catman, forget the lightning, the fucking, these superheroes or whatever. Like the most unrealistic thing there. Fiend is not fucking taller than me, dude. I am not short. I'm fucking taller than a cat. I need to be in the front, in the middle.
Okay, but it's perspective. It's just like it's because it's
I don't think it's perspective. I think your perspective is you're trying to make me look short.
I didn't make it, sir.
I am a formidable character, okay?
I think we are all well aware of your formidableness.
Okay. It's perspective, I suppose.
It's just that you're back farther, so it looks like.
Don't say anything about my back.
Okay. So well, thank you. Don't Hate Create. I believe you're in here. You were in here.
Wait, who the hell is that? Don't Hate Create.
I don't know if I'm not gonna say because I don't know if they want their other. But if they're in here and they want to take ownership of that, then they can. If not, it's cool. It's very cool. Okay. I can't find this. You share something. It's your turn.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I got something. I got fucking some bomb ass shit. I tell you.
Okay. Hey, Luke. This is great. This is a great point. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, right?
No, I think it is.
Yeah,
When you're
I mean,
dog
it
fighting.
certainly helps if you're dog fighting. Yeah, maybe
like-
something good happened.
So what have you guys heard that the rumors are about what's going on Friday? What's the coolest rumor?
The coolest rumor, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Good question.
We have 98 people. 101. Bam.
Wow.
My burner's logged on.
You got a couple in here?
No more Chipotle, please, guys. I told you.
It's a sensitive subject.
I got let go.
Yeah.
And I have been trying to apply to Pancheros. I'm on a second
Pancheros?
interview for Pancheros.
Why Pancheros? Why don't like salsa fresca or like? Why don't you go to like a real Mexican lunch spot, man?
Because I'm not Mexican. I'm Laotian, okay?
Not Mexican. Okay, we can cross that off the list. Everybody got that? In your
Yep.
DB Bingo card.
We're getting closer,
did you find what you were
folks.
looking for? If not, I'll do it.
Yeah, keep looking. Let's just sit here in silence.
Okay.
One of the 12 burners. I don't have 12 burners. I have 11.
11 burners.
Don't be ridiculous. Women doing impossible things. Women doing average things is really cool.
How many
because
pages
women-
is this thing?
Wait,
Oh,
what?
okay. No, nothing.
8.
Sorry. 8 pages? No, it's not.
Cleveland rocks. Don't say that.
Oh my god, them's fighting words.
Yellow Jacket says girls are using ChatGPT with pics of men to see if they lie about their height. Yeah, I seen that, but I bet they can't use it to fucking find out if Bridge Guy is 5'4" or not.
Okay.
We lost the iPad kid forever. She
I'm
gone.
here. I'm here. I'm just making sure that okay, it looks like this is 3 pages. Does that sound right to everybody?
Yeah, no, I think Rosie on.
I know, I'm looking at Rosie's. Rosie, if you're in here, thank you. I don't think you are, but if you are, thank you. I'm looking at it though.
Oh.
Whatever. I'm just gonna pull up Rosie's Twitter. That feels easier, right?
Yellow.
Twitter. I still type twitter.com.
What, doesn't it work?
What?
Doesn't it work?
So bright. It's almost like I should be using dark mode.
Glasses?
No, I have glasses. I'm not using my glasses because the screen is as big as my television.
Hansy Bay's here.
Hi, Hansy Bay. Mandy Bay. What is my Twitter name?
It's
RM
and
X. Okay,
I gotta say for everybody in here that's ever tried to tag you in something, on mobile, why you gotta have the and sign?
I don't. On Twitter?
No, and on YouTube.
Oh, I know. I didn't know shit about fuck when I first made that. It's very annoying.
I wear a size 11 and 3/16.
3/16. 369. Damn, it's fine. Okay, Rosie. Sock it to me. Well, can I find you, Rosie?
Are you talking about Bradley, Rosie?
Yes. Oh, this was funny. This is like my favorite. Okay, I'm hijacking my live back, even though you haven't hijacked it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Isn't this funny? Someone posted some nonsense troll tweet, and I posted this, like my favorite GIF ever. Oh, now I'm frozen.
Okay, it says I'm gonna need all the Richard Allen defense team cheerleaders to pay attention to dates. Oh, they want to go on a date?
Yeah, they want to go on a date.
They all want to go on a date with Richard Allen. Disgusting.
I know. Everybody wants to. I said, get out of here. Okay, back to Rosie. I'm going to find her. Let's go. Plug in my own Twitter. Where is she at? Rosie. I definitely replied to her on here. Or maybe I'm not in replies. Okay, hold on. There's got to be an easier way, right? Rosie, not Rosie. Here it is. Ha. Rosie. Okay, now I really did find it. Share screen. Okay, and then I'm gonna do, how do I, haha, there we go. All right, this is our friend Rosie Palfy? Rosie. So, correspondence added to the case. Anthony Greeno from True Crime Investigates wrote a 9-page cease and desist letter about unlawful transcript fees. 9 pages. I'm not going to read all 9. He cites FOIA and the Indiana Public Records Act. The exhibits an email exchange between Julie Marvin from Beyond Evidence and Special Judge Fran Gull's court reporter Jody Williams. I'm posting the letter, pages 1 through 3. Would you like to read it? Is that a no? Okay, I'll read it then. We lost DB.
I was trying to get somebody from the chat to read it, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
Someone from the chat to read it. I'm going to read it. I'll read it. Okay. Dear Ms. Williams, I'm writing to address a serious concern regarding the fees being charged for preparation of court transcripts by the Allen County Superior Court. It's come to my attention that the current rate being charged is $5.75 per page. That's like half a burrito at Chipotle, you know, which is significantly higher than the fee cap established by Indiana state law. According to Indiana code, whatever, the fee for preparing a transcript or copy of a record should not exceed $1 per page. This state law takes precedence over any local rules or ordinances, and any fee structure that exceeds this limit is both unlawful and unenforceable. I love that word. Unenforceable. Like, try me. Is that true for, well, in your email dated August 7th to a third-party individual, you stated, based on hearing length, 21 and a half hours of actual in-court time, the estimated page count is 750. And estimated cost is $4,312.50. This rate is in direct violation of the aforementioned Indiana state law. Furthermore, Fiend, do you want to come on and, oh, sorry, I thought you were going to actually read it. You're just going to type it. Furthermore, you mentioned the per page rate is set by local rule. However, local rule can't override state law. Charging $5.75 per page is not only unlawful, but it's also unethical. Tell her, Greeno. As it misleads individuals into believing that such fees are permissible. Additionally, you indicated that an out-of-state individual requesting documents would need to pick them up in person, stating individuals would have to go and pick them up in Indiana in person as it's too much to mail. According to the Indiana Access to Public Records Act, there's no provision that prevents the emailing of documents. In fact, I lost my place. The law allows for records to be provided electronically if requested. Federal FOIA guidelines also support the provision of records via email or other electronic means. The Indiana Access to Public Records Act requires a response to requests within 7 days if the request is made by mail, fax, or email. Failure to comply with this time frame is a violation of state law. Moreover, the 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which prohibits excessive fines, applies to state and local governments. The Supreme Court ruling in Timms v. Indiana reaffirmed that the excessive fines clause is incorporated against the state. Charging $5.75 per page for transcripts could be considered an excessive fee, violating both state and federal constitutional protections. Therefore, I'm formally requesting that Allen County Superior Court immediately cease and desist from charging more than $1 per page for transcript preparation. Continuing to charge fees in excess of state-mandated limit constitutes a violation of Indiana law and could result in civil and potentially criminal contempt charges for misappropriation of funds. Contempt, DB.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Did I, what? Do you want me to stop?
No, go ahead.
Oh. If the court has ever charged any individual fees contrary to this law, I'm requesting this information be made public and that those individuals be reimbursed for the costs they should not have incurred under Indiana law. I like that part. Regarding the criminal case of State of Indiana versus Richard Allen, the hearings on July 30th, 31st, and August 1st took place in Carroll County Circuit Court with Judge Francis Gull from Allen County Superior Court sitting as a special judge. According to Indiana law, a special judge appointed by the Indiana Supreme Court retains jurisdiction of the case for all future proceedings unless a specific statute or rule provides otherwise. Therefore, the Allen County Court Clerk would assume jurisdiction over the responsibilities associated with providing a record and a transcript and collecting fees for this case. Please confirm receipt of this email and provide assurance that the necessary adjustments will be made to comply with Indiana state law. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, the man of the hour, Anthony Greeno.
Anthony Rene Greeno. Anthony Rene Greeno.
Rene.
Love it, dude.
There you have it, folks. The unexpected something.
Oh, dude, he said that? I don't believe it.
We're just reporting. We don't condone. The views expressed do not necessarily. I do think that it's good, though, to write the court.
Listen, if you have ChatGPT, write some shit into it right now. Ask for a bunch of shit, and then just fucking mail that shit off, dude. I like it. Do it.
Why
Be
not?
a bug. Go bzzz right into their fucking ear, dude.
I lead with love. I don't know what this means, but I like it. Musical chairs. That sounds fun. Or is it bad? Is it a bad thing?
Did you say you wanted to listen to some music?
Musical chairs is going on.
I'm just kidding.
Courtney, when is Bacon Fest?
What is Bacon Fest?
What is Bacon Fest? Did you just say?
What is a geofence?
Bacon Fest is a big deal in Delphi, Indiana. FYI. So now you know. Okay, so what's going to happen on Friday? My prediction is not a whole lot in terms of the closed door hearing. I think that they're going to talk about administrative things. I think they're going to talk about jury selection. Maybe they'll talk about her rulings, but I think whatever they discuss in the closed door hearing will likely be short because she didn't schedule two separate like time slots, you know what I mean? So people are going to be arriving, the media, if the family's attending, are going to be arriving at 1 for a hearing, which you're going to make them sit for like, I mean, she probably would, but I don't think she will. I think that it'll be timely and short. That's my prediction. Lock it in.
You know who doesn't give a fuck about cease and desist letters?
Judge Gull or Anthony Greeno?
Anthony Rene Greeno.
I'm not gonna say why, but there is some fucking hilarious evidence out there.
Yeah.
This gentleman don't give a fuck about your cease and desist letter. Oh, listen, entertainment, guys. Yeah. So how's everyone doing? Is this thing gonna pop off or what? What about this letter?
What letter?
A safekeeping letter?
Safekeeping letter.
April 2023.
Oh, the motion? Yeah, I have the thing to read. Thank you. I almost forgot why we're here.
Who is KMS? Is their phone in the geofence?
KMS wrote that really scary. Well, actually, we don't know who or what that is, actually, so never mind.
Yeah, you didn't actually see the real email, have you?
I saw whatever's been circulating. I started to read it, and then my eyes go cross, and it made me just feel like I needed to stop reading it. So I don't really know a whole lot. It looked like I don't know.
I thought it looked like the credits of a Criminal Network documentary. Like the end was just, wrapping up all that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Someone just losing it. Oh. If Fiend has seen the real, presumably, email, are you saying the one that was leaked was real?
I'm not saying anything. You mean Fiend?
Yeah, I'm asking Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Fiend.
Why can't I see?
So I would say probably the first couple months of commenting and talking in Delphi live chats, I'd always hear somebody say Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always talk to this gentleman that was a cat, like in the chat every now and then, you know?
Cat in the chat.
The cat in the chat. And I never one time realized that Fiend, that whole time, I didn't realize that Fiend was actually called Phoenix.
It took me a minute.
Yeah.
It
I
definitely
was
took.
like, oh, fuck,
You
dude.
don't say. You don't say. That one got by you, huh?
It got right by me, slipped right through the cracks.
Slipped right through. Okay. April. Why can't I? The clam jam. The clam jam was in the Warbash.
The Narbash.
The,
That's what I call
the
it.
Norbash. The Norbash.
That shit was
I'm not
gnarly.
gonna. My keys. No, okay, I have to touch my plus key, but you know what happened last time I did that. All right. Okay. Here we go.
127 people in here just
Just
waiting for us to
kicking it.
pull shit up.
Just kicking it. All right. All right. Well, anyone who comes to an R&M live that R&M is running, I hope knows to have like a coloring book or something else to keep their attention while I fiddle with my screen. So here we go.
It's butt kicking time.
I'd like to read it. Can we read it together?
Yeah, I'll start.
Thank you.
Memorandum of law in support of defendant Allen's motion to suppress. Facts. I like that. You know, straight from the top. Just facts, man. Facts. Defendant Allen was arrested in October of 2022 and immediately detained in the Carroll County Jail. Allen was thereafter transferred to the White County Jail and ultimately charged with 2 counts of felony murder, not murder. The charges were lodged against him on October 28, 2022. On November 3rd, 2023, the Carroll County Sheriff petitioned the court for an order transferring jurisdiction of Allen's custody from the Carroll County Sheriff's Department to the Indiana Department of Corrections. This is how it starts, guys. I come on here, I start reading, and then all of a sudden, on the same day and without the formality of a hearing, on the sheriff's request, former Judge Benjamin Diener signed an order of safekeeping that transferred Allen's custody to the IDOC without Allen or his legal representatives, that to which he did not have, having any input into his pretrial detainment. Allen was then shipped off to Westville Correctional Facility and placed in a maximum security segregation unit referred to the prison officials as WCU. WCU is this unit that they're talking about, but you also
Westville
see this.
Correctional Unit is what they, I guess, yeah.
Yep, and then they also call the facility as a whole WCF. So different things. The records suggest that just prior to the transfer to the WCU, Allen may have made a brief stop at RDC, the Reception Diagnostic Center, where some sort of intake procedure may have taken place, but it does not appear that Allen underwent any formal mental health assessment or testing to establish a baseline in terms of his mental health history or needs.
You gonna read that footnote?
I thought you were reading the footnotes.
I'll read the footnote. I will read the footnote. At the time the court signed the safekeeping order, Allen had yet to be appointed counsel. In fact, Allen's court-appointed public defenders, Rosie and Baldwin, did not enter their appearances until November 14th, 2022, and therefore Allen had no input as to his pretrial detention circumstances. What are you doing over there? You futzing
Can you
around?
Can you hear noise?
I hear noise.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. You're just generally, You're just so on top of it with your audio. So
It's not like me. I know. You're
yeah,
right.
it's really not. We were
I
worried.
apologize.
It's okay.
And I apologize to the chat as well.
Take a minute and get yourself together. So, therefore, Alan had no input as to his pretrial detention circumstances. The record should also reflect that the safekeeping order and all other exhibits referenced herein have been personally served on the court in the form of a supplemental appendix. Now, the other day, this is my footnote to the footnote.
Hey, how many people here have their appendix taken out?
Oh, good question. You don't.
How did you know that?
I know everything.
Okay.
I don't. I didn't. I have mine is intact. My tonsils are not intact though. Heather Brown, you had your appendix out first?
Everybody, Heather Brown is missing an appendix. You have 2 appendixes, right? Like in the
No,
back.
sure.
In your back.
In the back. In the back. Did you say?
Yeah, they're like in your back, right? Or are they more in the chest?
I got some questions. I'm gonna move on, but before I do, my footnote to the footnote is that remember that Richard Allen authored his letter to the court requesting counsel on October 31st. We presume it was at least before November 1st, and he did not get appointed counsel until November 14th, 2022. Just saying. Okay, moving on. You're up, or not, if you want to keep reading.
Okay. From approximately November 1st, 2022 through December 2023, Allen remained incarcerated at WCU. Allen's attorneys are unaware of any pretrial detainee that has ever been housed at WCU in the history of the facility, and most certainly not in the 5 or so years preceding this placement.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't know how the
everything.
footnotes work. Do I wait or do I footnote when it? Okay, keep going.
We'll ask Luke. Let's wait for Luke to weigh
Okay,
in.
Luke, can you
go
please
ahead.
advise? Should I footnote the time I see the footnote, or do I wait until DB is finished reading the page? This is, things we can all learn together. Do 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 do. Okay, well, you keep
All right.
reading. I'll read it after.
Allen's attorneys have conducted depositions, watched video from Allen's cell other than the video within the prison, reviewed prison records regarding Allen's detention, reviewed Allen's medical and psychiatric records, and listened to audio interviews of the prison inmates, guards, and conducted by law enforcement officials. Through this process, Allen's attorneys have learned that Allen has been accused of making incriminating statements to both inmates and guards. Nearly all these statements appear to have occurred between mid-March 2023 and June of 2023. During this time frame, there also exist medical psychiatric records suggesting that Allen was in a state of psychosis. See attached report of treatment review committee TRC hearing.
I'm going to do something really quick. May I?
Please.
Okay. Because, and we don't have to get into the weeds of this, but I do think that it's interesting. Can you see this? Yes. Okay. So this is the form that is referenced in that. This is the hearing, the super secret April 14th, 2023 hearing that they had the day after the IPAS and IDOC settlement stipulation terminated. If no one knows what that is referencing, don't worry about it. But this hearing, treatment review hearing, was intended to determine if Allen needed involuntary medication or and to evaluate the appropriateness of his setting at Westville. And this is the form that I guess they fill out. This is their review. So I don't know if anybody in here is has any kind of job where they have to do a report after, I don't know, seeing a patient or a client or having an incident, but this, I just my impression was this form is very, what did I say it was? It's super subjective. It certainly doesn't look like a clinical instrument. It's just more of like a summary, which is fine. But what really caught our attention was that here there's a section for patient comments. And my question was, how much participation and autonomy is a patient allowed during this process? Patient, i.e. inmate, prisoner, right? For purposes of the hearing, they're a patient, but they're an inmate at the facility. And then what's the remedy for a patient whose conditions render them unable to function, meaning they're in psychosis, or, you know, their mental illness is so acute that they can't have an active role in this process, because ideally the patient would have some say in what the determination is. And they also have a right, the patient, inmate, that would mean Richard Allen, has the right to appeal this decision to the Indiana Department of Corrections chief medical officer by filling out a written appeal with the chairperson of the treatment review committee within 5 days of receipt of this report. How many people in here think that that option was given to Rick and his attorneys? I doubt it. I doubt his attorneys even knew this was happening, but that's just speculation. Anyway, back to, sorry, DB.
It's okay.
Okay.
Oh shit, Travis is in here.
Yes. That's excellent. That makes me very happy.
You want to just pull up you can keep that pulled up, but I'm gonna hit this real quick. Just I seen a lot of people talking in chat.
Yeah.
You know, they thought I seen a lot of key going on about me saying the appendix location. And I just wanted to shut you guys up. So I did find this from the Mayo Clinic.
Excellent.
And I would like an apology. You know who you are. So get to it. You don't have to tag me in it, but it's all good.
Hi, T. Criminality is here. To be honest, the entire chat is invisible when I'm sharing my screen, because I don't know.
Alan's defense team that wait, go ahead, sorry.
I don't know how to share my screen and see the chat at the same time. Hi, Teresa. Okay, go ahead, DB.
Alan's defense team has learned that Alan was not only detained in an isolation cell in WCU, but prison officials chose to post inmates at Alan's cell door and required the inmates to keep logs of all of Alan's actions, statements, and behaviors. This appears to have occurred during all hours of the day and continue over the course of much of Alan's stay in the WCU. These inmates, all of whom are convicted felons, were not only actively engaged in surveilling Alan's activities, but they were also communicating with him from time to time. Alan's attorneys have also learned that at some point in early April of 2023, prison officials deliberately pulled the inmates from Alan's cell door and replaced them with prison guards. Alan's attorneys have learned that this appears to have been prompted by an inmate or inmate's allegation regarding his pending charges in communicating with Alan's thoughts and words with the families of these inmates, thereby violating any sense of confidentiality that might exist within the walls of the penitentiary. Oh, Angela. Oh, muted.
Sorry. Okay. I was going to say, as I was saying, we don't actually know the exact date that the guards replaced the inmate companions, right? We just have like an idea of when. Or did he say when? sometime in here, sometime during the month of
Yeah.
April, aka the month of all fuckery, is when that happened. That's all. I just wanted to remind everyone that, yeah. Footnote. Is it footnote time?
Yeah.
Warden John Gallipoo was deposed by the defense on Friday, March 22nd, 2024, where he acknowledged that he had worked in the Indiana Department of Correction for 28 years and was the warden at Westville for approximately 5 years leading up to Allen's placement. Warden Gallipoo acknowledged that during his entire tenure, he was unaware of any other circumstance involving the pretrial detention of a man who had not yet been convicted of a crime. See Gallipoo deposition transcript, pages 24 to 26. Okay. Oops. Oh, shit. Sorry. How do I make the thing go?
Okay. I see that there's still some commenters about what I
Uh-huh.
said earlier. So I just wanted to pull this back up because some
Yeah,
people
go
were
ahead.
confused.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see there's 2 arrows there, like I said. All right, that's good enough.
Perfect.
I proved it. I file a motion to prove, offer proof.
Where is Luke? Did you scare him away?
Fucking crying in the corner, dude. Fiend's over there pointing at him, making fun of him. Okay,
What's
prison
wrong?
records reflect. Go ahead.
Nope.
Prison records reflect that. Prison record.
Anthony Rene Greeno.
Prison records reflect that Allen was placed on suicide watch during the majority of his stay at WCU, including upon his initial detention in November of 2022. This occurred despite the fact there was no underlying findings suggesting he was suicidal. Allen's designated as suicidal subjected him to even harsher circumstances than those of other offenders on the unit. For example, Allen's bed consisted of a metal plate, and a thin mattress. Order
I
the
lost my
toilet
place.
bowl,
Oops.
Allen's food, Allen's cell,
Oh, all of which was just a few inches from the concrete floor.
all of which was just a few inches from the concrete floor. Allen's food was served to him through a cuff portal.
Yes. You want me to take over?
Yeah, my
Okay. And his dining habits involved him sitting on his bed or on the floor, as his cell was not equipped with a table or a chair that would otherwise serve even as a rudimentary dining arrangement. Allen's cell also contained a steel toilet and a sink, both in direct line of sight of the inmates and guards assigned to surveil him. Lovely. Assigned to his surveil. The toilet bowl was located approximately 24 inches from his bed. Allen's attorneys learned that Allen was not only under constant surveillance, but that the lights remained on in his cell for many days and nights. It's also true that due to a suicide watch designation, he was afforded less or no recreation time and much less of an opportunity for showers. See audio of Timothy Weist, and this is an
Timothée Chalamet.
Timothée Chalamet, DB's arch nemesis. Didn't you guys get in a fist fight recently?
Yeah, he fucked me up, dude.
I remember that. I'm glad you recovered. So
Yeah.
Timothy Weist is a corrections officer. We figured, right? Yes. I don't know who mobile user is. I think that's me, but I don't know how to get rid of that. In essence, his suicide designation was the cause for the removal of additional privileges, to the extent the word privilege can even apply, which in turn further fostered an environment that led to the deterioration of Allen's mental and physical health. In all, for nearly 13 months at the WCU, Allen was deprived of any social interaction, very little to no privacy, limited recreation time, and was left to entertain himself. Unfortunately, Alan's unusual detention circumstances would extend beyond the door of his isolation cell. Whenever Alan was removed from the confines of his 12x8 steel and concrete box, aka cell, he was shackled with ankle cuffs, a belly chain, box cuffs. This is box cuffs. It's very uncomfortable. Try and just like walk around like this for an hour and see how great it feels. It sucks. It's ridiculous. On his hands and guided around by guards with a lead, or what most people refer to as a leash. As if this restriction of his basic freedom of movement was not enough, prison officials assigned a videographer to Alan to record his movements around the prison, including when he would meet with his lawyers. That's crazy. During all the meetings between Alan and his attorneys, he remained shackled as referenced above, making simple tasks difficult, such as taking a drink of water from a water bottle. Alan would not be able to communicate as much as a hand gesture due to his shackled state. During other meetings, prison officials placed a video camera outside of a window in the visitation room and required Alan to sit on a hard plastic chair directly in line with the video camera, which was less than 10 feet away. Alan's highly unusual detention circumstance extended even to his visits with his wife. During one visit, Alan was transported outside of the WCU to a building reserved for visitation for those inmates and general population. Alan again was shackled and confined during the transport and ultimately re-robed into a green jumpsuit before seeing his wife. Why? Do we know why? I don't. He was, however, unshackled during the visit. His embrace with his wife was controlled by prison protocol, which permitted only a few brief seconds of contact, despite the fact that Alan had not seen his wife for the better part of 6 months. Alan was required to sit on the opposite side of the table from his wife and had 2 prison guards stationed within earshot of each end of his table. They were left with absolutely no privacy. The room was completely empty except for his lawyers and a few other prison guards who were also stationed within the building. This provided no background noise whatsoever, which might offer up some aspect of privacy as he and his wife tried to. And then this footnote says that Alan's intake records with the Indiana Department of Corrections reflect that he was 5 feet 5 inches tall and 175 pounds at admission in November of 2022. His weight by April of 2023 had dropped to below 135 pounds. That's 40 pounds.
Is he really 5'5"?
Who knows? Who knows, man? I don't know, man. Okay, they couldn't even drink water. This, I feel, is this is the crux of the bullshit. Do you want me to keep reading? I'm going to keep reading so you can keep.
Please do.
Yeah. Alan's unusual detention involves an even stranger set of circumstances. Ouch. My foot's asleep. I'm sorry. Okay. Alan's unusual detention involves an even stranger set of circumstances. During the course of their representation of Alan, his attorneys discovered the existence of dozens and dozens of police reports, audio interviews, and other investigative findings that centered on a group of suspects associated with pagan Norse spiritual and religious practices. These suspects considered themselves Odinists, all of which were referred to in the Franks motion and memorandum and second Franks motion and memorandum previously filed with this court. Alan incorporates herein the details referenced in the Franks filings rather than restating the lengthy details in this memo. His lawyers also discovered that at least 2 guards assigned to his pod and or his movements around the facility also held themselves out to be affiliated with the pagan Norse god known as Odin. See affidavit of Joshua Robinson and Randy Jones. The guards proudly displayed their Odinistic beliefs on their own prison uniforms, despite the fact that such a display was in direct violation of their uniform policy. That's crazy. And on at least one occasion, one of these guards tased Alan after he was placed into his secured 8x12 cell because Alan refused to move his hands from the cuff port in the door of his cell, a cuff port that's barely large enough through which to slide a meal tray. And there's a video of this. Alan posed absolutely no risk to anyone at the time that he was tased. That sounds like a punishment to me, right? That kind of sounds like a punishment. Alan
It sounds like a punishment to me.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Alan had also battled depression throughout most of his adult life. He was medicated over the course of his life and, in fact, had sought out therapeutic resources to treat and manage his depression. And this is page 4 through 5 of his independent neuropsych evaluation. They had an independent neuropsych exam conducted of their client. The Indiana Department of Correction gave very little consideration to Allen's condition at the time of his intake and initial incarceration in the WCU, especially given the unusual circumstances in which he was detained. It is also believed that Allen's medications were administered in a less than consistent fashion while he was on the unit, all of which would have contributed to his inability to endure his living environment during his pretrial detention at the WCU. So, not administering psychotropic medication, whatever that may be, consistently, or discontinuing medication abruptly, making abrupt, sudden changes to regularity of medication, especially for mental health conditions, can lead to very severe adverse side effects, both physically and psychologically. Just saying. This is what I really wanted to scream from the rooftops about, because, well, I'm just going to read it. The issue in this case is whether the state violated Allen's Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights and federal and state due process rights by detaining him in solitary confinement in a maximum security prison segregation unit while he was awaiting trial. Allen's statements were involuntary and should be suppressed. That means all 61 of them were involuntary and should be suppressed because his Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights and federal and state due process rights potentially were violated, is what is being presented here. Coercive police activity is a necessary predicate to a finding that a confession is involuntary within the meaning of due process clause. However, coercive police activity is not a necessary prerequisite to challenge the voluntariness of a defendant's statement, as there may be other elements that would tend to support a finding of involuntariness. The proper standard under the Indiana Constitution is whether the confession was freely self-determined and the product of a rational intellect and a free will. A rational intellect and a free will. Thus, courts look to the totality of the circumstances to determine if the confession was voluntary, taking into account many factors, including whether the statement was made under a court order, use of police trickery, threats or promises by police, the defendant's race, age, or disability, length of detention, physical coercion, and illegal police practices. Notwithstanding the lower standard for showing involuntariness set by the Indiana Constitution, it is indisputable that Richard Allen's detention circumstances were manufactured by the Carroll County Sheriff purposefully and without the existence of any sense of due process, as the court signed the safekeeping order without requiring the state to establish the burden of proof required by the statute. But this was just the beginning. Richard Allen was then shipped off to Westville and immediately placed on suicide watch in a detention cell where he had little to no accommodations, not even those offered up to the other 2,000 convicted inmates housed across the prison yard. This is a really good quote. Almost simultaneous with Allen's isolation from human contact, prison companions were placed at his doorstep and tasked with the duty of reporting his every move and recording his every word. The companions appear to have gone above and beyond this duty by communicating with Allen about his case and even praying with him as he struggled to withstand the rigors of his incarceration. That's from guard Michael Roberts. Remember what Wallace said about Richard Allen finding God at some point during his detention? You've got companions fucking with him, praying with him. They're not supposed to be talking to him at all. You are, as a companion, you are not supposed to interact in any fucking way with the inmate that you are watching over who's on suicide watch. Okay. The companion's mere presence at Alan's doorstep is akin to Messiah versus United States, where police obtained incriminating statements from a jailhouse informant who engaged the defendant in a conversation and developed a relationship of trust and confidence with the defendant, such that he revealed incriminating information about the charged crime when counsel was not present. The court held that this was improper and suppressed the statements. This trial court should do the same. The trial court's decision regarding admissibility of a confession or incriminating statement is controlled by determining from the totality of the circumstances whether the statement was given voluntarily rather than induced through violence, threats, coercion, or other improper influence, so as to overcome the defendant's free will. I'd say that all of those things, we have proof of violence, we have proof of threats. I guess coercion, we could debate back and forth. I'd say that involuntarily medicating somebody with a antipsychotic medication like Haldol could be considered coercive. And improper influence, yeah, I'd say that all, as a lay person, it seems pretty obvious to me that all of those. Okay, anyway. Standard indicators for voluntariness include whether the confession was freely self-determined, the product of a rational intellect and free will without compulsion or inducement of any sort, and whether the accused will was overborne. Here, Richard Allen's free will was overcome by the forces of his environment, all of which were placed upon him by the government and its actors. Allen, a man with bona fide pre-existing mental health issues, was detained in an isolation cell entirely isolated from any sense of meaningful human contact, and then offered up the most basic amenities of life through a cuff port hole in his door. He was reduced to sleeping on a mattress that was placed on top of a steel plate just a few inches from the floor. This same mattress and floor also doubled as his dining table because his cell had no such accommodation. His attire was reduced to nothing more than a suicide smock covering only a portion of his body. Allen's healthiest accommodation came in the form of recreation time not to exceed 4 hours per week. In this space, there was not enough room to jog or run, only an exercise bike and a pull-up bar. Allen's other accommodation would have been a window slit that was inside his cell. His view of anything outside the boundaries of the penitentiary would have been impaired by the rusty chain link and razor wire of at least 2 separate fences between him and any sense of freedom. To the extent Allen was ever allowed to be removed from his cell, he was shackled at the ankles, wrists, further confined by a belly chain and cuff port, and guided around the prison on a leash. All ideal ways to confine and control the movements of a convicted killer or some other convict who, in addition to his conviction, posed a threat to himself or the prison staff. Allen, at 5 feet 5 inches tall and 173 pounds soaking wet, and with not one single criminal conviction on his rap sheet, met none of these conditions. See Westville Correctional Unit suicide form from November 8th, 2022.
So they wouldn't cite that if they were fucking around and saying that on 11/8 he wasn't suicidal if there was a suicide form that claimed that he was not suicidal. And I'll ask you this. Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Can I ask? Okay, well, let me just ask you a question. Is it true that maybe somebody can say they don't want to harm themselves, but they may actually want to harm themselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, is the state usually in the position to really hammer down and figure out whether an inmate that's in safekeeping or an indigent inmate is really getting the best care and the best clinical treatment in the world?
Probably not.
Right. So if he said, I'm not going to hurt myself, how much more clinical observation would they do beyond that to determine whether or not he was actually experiencing some type of suicidal ideation?
I imagine they would do whatever benefited the eye doc. So probably not much, unless they wanted to surveil him, and then a lot. But there's a lot of reasons that somebody who's experiencing suicidal ideation would deny experiencing suicidal ideation, especially somewhere like Westville, where Suicide Watch is like being in prison. It's not like a cushy, comfy, super supportive environment. It's the most restrictive environment that exists. It's awful. So, I mean, there's a lot of incentive to not admit to experiencing suicidal ideation if you're there.
Well, as Rosie has pointed out here, there's an issue with punishment with somebody who has not been convicted of a crime. And if they use suicide watch as a punitive measure, or use this facility or this unit that he's going to as a punitive measure for inmates inside of the prison who've been convicted of a crime, and they're getting the same treatment for somebody in safekeeping that's a pretrial detainee, it seems as though that would be unconstitutional to me.
Very much so. I mean, yeah, I would say so. All of this seems very, very, very punitive. I mean, considering the fact that 2,000 plus convicted inmates are not subjected to this at all for any period of time, let alone for 13 months. Yeah, it feels pretty punitive, I think. You want me to keep reading?
Okay, where did you leave off?
Suicide form of 11/8/22.
Right. Okay. So also they often describe like the conditions that they're living in and what ultimately happened to him as having some cause and effect on his mental state. But excuse me,
Sorry.
I am of the mindset that what has happened to him is bad enough. Even if these conditions were not absolutely terrible like they are, even if he was in a good situation as far as being taken care of, as good as it could be as a pretrial inmate,
Yeah.
it would be bad enough to cause some type of issues with your mental health, or just your happiness in general. And if you have experienced episodes of depression in the past, I mean, you're going to be challenged greatly by the circumstances of your incarceration. And when you have somebody who's a proud owner of their own home, we've heard that he's talked about how proud he was of that, a small rural community, being a homeowner as a young man, and having 2 cars, as he describes. He was a proud man, and having that and realizing that that's going to be taken away from him because on, I think, what is it, 28th of October,
Yeah.
he understands that he's going to have to give up everything just to fight this case, and he doesn't have the money or resources to really fight.
Right.
And that's why he asked for public defenders.
He also says in that interrogation with Holman on the 26th of October, I don't know if it's like a verbatim quote or if the defense just paraphrases, but he basically is very upset that they pat him down in the middle of the street, and that act alone, even being like questioned and patted down like a criminal outside of, in a public area, he was upset that could harm his reputation because it could. So obviously he's a person who takes great pride in, like, again, 0 criminal convictions or charges or anything. I mean, squeaky clean, a good job, stable job, A wife who obviously he loves and loves him very much. I mean, yeah, this is like the worst thing that could happen. Yeah. You want me to keep going? And this is kind of what you were saying. As if this treatment wasn't enough. Am I muted? No.
Hello? One sec, I gotta take this.
Okay.
Oh, you want to? We had. I thought I answered it. What the fuck? Stop fucking. Hello? Yeah. Oh, we got to do the ad right now. But we have 146 people. It's kind of unprofessional just to call me like this and say do that. Like you said, okay. I'm looking at my co-host here. Are we good to do it? I see you waving. Is that okay?
Run
we
that
have a
shit.
We have a new shirt that we're dropping, everybody, and these are going to be on pre-sale starting right now. So if you like one of these shirts, we don't need to zoom in.
You have to please zoom in. Do you need me to zoom in, DB? Did we lose you? That's pretty remarkable. Not for the low price, ladies and gentlemen, of $99.99. You can't beat that. It's a steal. That is a steal. We lost DB, but we do love. There he goes. Well, how do I get rid of this? I don't think I can. Oh, wait. DB, did you just leave me with this shirt stuck up here? Lord. Motherfucker. Oh my god. How do I get rid of this, DB? God. That's okay. It's all right. Actually, nope. He got us. That's very fitting, actually. Jerry Holman, ladies and gentlemen. He's everywhere. Can't get rid of him. Oh, hello, sir. You're back. You left me in a precarious position. I'll have you know. Sir. Okay, well. Less than a carton of eggs. His computer crashed. Okay, he'll be right with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna sit and enjoy. So I guess I could keep reading though, right? We could keep reading, or we could just, hang out. Oh, there we go. Hey, DV. Thank you so much. I kind of missed the appendix conversation. It sounds to me like maybe. Yeah, I agree, Mandy. It's the best part. He's just like, it's beautiful. It's fiend. Hey, Just James. Welcome. I don't know how long you've been in here. I didn't see you. You'd wear it. Nice. Nice. Yeah, DB's double appendix. Travis schooled you. Good. Okay, I'm going to keep reading while we wait for... Alrighty. How do I... Oh, I'm already sharing it. Okay. As if this treatment wasn't enough.
Oops. Yeah, the wrong one. Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
What was
Hello?
that? Is that going to get me flagged? Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Hey, I'm not going to show that again, Mr. Holman. Okay, my apologies. Please don't DDoS me again. I get
Maybe
it.
he'd like it. He, never mind. I didn't catch the origin of the appendix discussion. I just saw him post an anatomical diagram with arrows on it. It's not all it had on it, Travis. He also annotated it for Luke, who was
Well, this
assisting
one
us.
is very scientific, I might add. There's the
Yeah.
dual appendix theory, and this is before, everyone came along, Western philosophies about Eastern things, and, the North Southerners were, really trying to, make the South adopt the idea that there was only a single appendix inside of a person, and it wasn't in their back. So,
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Appendum.
God, this guy's got to correct me everywhere I go.
I feel like he's just like... Hi, Party. Oh, that's my friend. That's my friend. Hi, Pop Tarty. Oh my god.
Okay, go ahead. I got to go. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's finish, y'all. Okay. Bye, DB. So, as if this treatment wasn't enough, Alan was forced to endure the intimacies of his restraint systems, even while meeting with his court-appointed lawyers. Add insult to injury, his meetings were video cameraed. All of this occurred while Alan's medications were being adjusted by the prison medical team, the combination of which factors reduced him to nothing more than a human experiment. Richard Allen's free will was overcome. Totality of the circumstances. Under the U.S. Constitution, the prosecution only has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the confession was voluntary. As explained below, the state cannot meet its burden of showing voluntariness here, even applying the lower standard of preponderance. The federal courts have a long history of regulating the emission of confessions that have been a product of state action that exploits the weak and compromised through interrogatory and custodial processes. In Blackburn versus State of Alabama, the United States Supreme Court noted that it had recognized coercion can be mental as well as physical, and that the blood of the accused is not the only hallmark of an unconstitutional inquisition. A number of cases have demonstrated, if demonstration were needed, that the efficiency of the rack and the thumb screw can be matched, given the proper subject, by more sophisticated modes of persuasion. A prolonged interrogation of an accused who's ignorant of his rights and who has been cut off from the moral support of friends and relatives is not infrequently an effective technique of terror. Thus, the range of inquiry in this type of case must be broad, and this court has insisted that the judgment in each instance be based upon consideration of the totality of the circumstances. Allen's case falls within these federal parameters. In Blackburn, the defendant had a documented history of mental illness, having served in the military, which ultimately resulted in his discharge because of medical findings that he suffered from some sort of psychosis. He was in the process of being treated in the days and weeks leading up to the commission of the crime and his ultimate apprehension. After enduring an 8 to 10 hour interrogation, Blackburn was given a prepared written statement with admissions offered up by him in the course of the interrogation, and he ultimately signed the written statement 2 days later. Here, Allen endured a longer, more sustained form of interrogation, one that lasted more than 5 months before he was finally broken. Already suffering from a bona fide mental health disorder and then having been cut off from the moral support of his wife, mother, and daughter, Allen was weakened to the point where he slipped into a state of psychosis, plagued by grossly disorganized, delusional, paranoid, and highly dysfunctional behavior. These behaviors were manifested through verbal confessions that he may have been drugged, verbal confessions to the double homicide, inconsistent with known facts about the crime scene, periods of not sleeping for days, paranoia, stripping off his clothes, drinking toilet water, covering himself with and eating his own feces, and many other socially unacceptable behaviors. On one occasion, Allen confessed to molesting those 2 young girls and shooting them in the back. On another occasion, he professed his sorrow for molesting Abby, Libby, and others, which he specifically named. These facts are known to be falsities, none of which are supported by the autopsy findings of Dr. Roland Kaur as to the cause of death of the girls, and unsupported by the absence of any evidence that either one of the girls were sexually assaulted near or before the time of their deaths. See attached autopsy reports of Abby Williams and Libby German. At the time Allen uttered these falsities, the state's actors were in the ready position, with pen in hand, documenting the entirety of Allen's mental and physical deterioration and actions stemming therefrom. The infringements on Allen's legal rights did not stop here. Inmate companions then spread the good word of Allen's confessions to inmates in general population at Westville, prompting these inmates to then share the information with their prospective family members in public. Proof of these leaks were offered up by the state in the form of audio recorded interviews and accompanying transcripts, and included in large volumes of discovery dumps received by the defense in the recent past. However, neither Allen nor his legal team were aware of any self-reporting of said leaks by the state to the defense or the state to the court, despite the fact that the state was aware of this information as early as May 12, 2023, when Patton and Elliott were interviewed by law enforcement investigators. Allen's due process rights have been all but ignored. It's also established that the 14th Amendment forbids fundamental unfairness in the use of evidence, whether true or false. This is my favorite part of anything that I've read in this entire case thus far. And a lot of people won't like it probably, but this is the best thing that I've read. Pop off, Rosie. It is also established that the 14th Amendment forbids fundamental unfairness in the use of evidence, whether true or false. As important as it is that persons who have committed crimes be convicted, there are considerations that transcend the question of guilt or innocence. Thus, in cases involving involuntary confessions, this court enforces the strongly felt attitude of our society that important human values are sacrificed where an agency of the government, in the course of securing a conviction, wrings a conviction out of an accused against his will. This insistence upon putting the government to the task of proving guilt by means other than inquisition was engendered by historical abuses which are quite familiar. The truth or falsity of Allen's statements are of no consequence to this analysis. The truth or falsity of Allen's statements are of no consequence to this analysis. Allen has been treated unlike any other pretrial detainee in Indiana in recent history. The methodology employed by the justice system is one of first impression, and therefore The circumstances created by this methodology should not be part of any consideration of Allen's guilt or innocence. The system of pretrial detention employed against Richard Allen runs afoul of the Fifth and Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution and Article 1, Section 14 of the Indiana Constitution. It is for these reasons that any and all incriminating statements made by Allen while incarcerated should be suppressed. Period. That's the best thing I've read. This entire motion is great, but do I think that Judge Gull will consider it in a meaningful way? Do I think that Judge Gull has given it the attention and consideration that it deserves? No. Do I hope she will still? Yes. But it doesn't matter if Allen made 10 truthful or 10 incriminating statements that supported the evidence and 50 that didn't, or if he made 50 that did and 10 that didn't. The fact that he was denied counsel for 2 weeks, the fact that he was denied a safekeeping hearing in violation of the statute that requires that, the fact that he was denied the opportunity to object to his transfer when the only issue at play is the safety of the inmate or of the accused, they get to object to the safekeeping transfer, because the whole sole reason that safekeeping exists, allegedly, supposedly, presumably, is to keep the inmate and society safe. So if the issue at play is Allen's physical safety or fear and risk of his safety, then he should have been able to object to that. And an attorney, had he been appointed one, would have been able to help him in doing that. And an attorney, had he been appointed one, would have been able to object to the fact that they were about to ship him off as under a safekeeping order when none of the required elements had been met at all. So they kept him from counsel. They deprived him of his right to counsel. They deprived him of any and all semblance of due process, and they threw him into prison pre-trial in seg like a animal and kept him there for 13 months despite the fact that he had bona fide mental health conditions and physical health conditions going into it. They fucked with his medication and treated him like a human experiment. He had a psychologist who was far more interested in treating him like her little pet experiment, her little pet rat in a cage, than actually abiding by and honoring the oath that she took to care for him. And they watched him deteriorate. They exacerbated his deterioration. They had state actors waiting with bated breath and fucking notebooks to write down everything that he said. He had no opportunity to see his wife for 6 months. That in itself is coercive. You cannot isolate somebody from all human contact and expect them not to deteriorate, especially when they're a person that already has mental illness and other vulnerabilities like that. It's fucking ridiculous that we're even talking about this. It's fucking ridiculous that Judge Gull was not immediately horrified. I'm not talking about his treatment, by the way. Her order, and then I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to read the chat. Judge Gull's order in her order in April, first of all, and then her order in June, both of her bullshit safekeeping hot potato orders are honestly a disgrace, and she should be ashamed of herself forever, because Allen's treatment should have been irrelevant. It wouldn't have mattered if he was being treated like a fucking king in DOC custody. They violated his constitutional rights by putting him there in the first place. Period. Just like none of the evidence that the state obtains through an unlawful search of somebody's property and violating their constitutional rights. I don't care if you violate somebody's constitutional rights and then you seize 6 ounces of fucking weed from their house, you don't get to prosecute them for that because you violated their rights. You don't get to keep the evidence. If you put somebody in safekeeping and you violate all of their due process rights and their constitutional and state Indiana constitutional rights in doing so, then from November fucking 3rd, 2022 until December fucking whenever the fuck 2023, nothing that occurred in DOC, in my opinion, should be admissible because all of it was obtained through violating his constitutional rights. What the fuck kind of precedent is this woman setting, and why has she not like recused herself? That's what I want to know. Now I'm done. Are you really not DB or are you fiend? I'm sweating. I'm going to take a break. Hey, friends. That's our motion, and it's the best. It's my favorite. So I've got DB here and not DB here, just sitting here not talking. I don't know which of you is real and which of you is fiend and which of you is DB. Oops. Hey, fiend.
What's up?
Oh my God, it's really fiend. Hi, fiend. How's it going?
DB sent me like the wrong link like 5 times.
Yeah, he's having
Technical difficulties.
yeah, he's not himself tonight. You know? What do you think?
What do I think about what? I have lots of thoughts.
I want to hear all of them, Feed.
Well, where do you want to start?
Wherever you want to start. I want to start where you start.
Well, since you were giving awards away, I have some thoughts on the letter stuff, and I think it's good, and I think it's always good to send a letter, even if it's a little bit misguided, as long as it's well intentioned. Like that's,
yeah, I would agree.
That's a good step. But I think that like just on that whole issue, like I think the thing that people keep missing is that like these hearings aren't automatically transcribed. So, what they charge is the cost of
The work.
doing the transcription.
Yeah.
Providing copies is just $1 a page, which is, I guess, very uniform nominal cost. But yeah, if something isn't already transcribed and they have no intention of transcribing it, that doesn't just magically happen. So
No, it's a lot
I
of work.
don't know what the actual cost of transcribing it is. I think it's super weird that the court system would try to make money off of transcribing it. So I have no idea what their process is. Like, are they actually, does it cost them more? Like, is this just included in this person's salary, or like, their normal work hours, or like, are they paying her more to do it? Like, what is that actual cost? Like, does the cost per page cover the entire cost of this, or does it cost way more? Like, does it cover way more than that, or are they losing money on it? Like, I don't know any of those details.
Didn't she put in the emails, but with her and Anthony, like, didn't she outline what the costs were, or maybe not?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, $1 per page is just their copy cost, so that's a completely different thing than
Right.
transcription cost. Obviously, if they already have to transcribe it and then they have it, then that's the copy cost. It's $1 a page.
I just want to say, so Disabled Outcast is in our chat. Welcome. You said something that I think is important, which is always invoke the ADA early and often. Hey, everyone. I feel like, I don't remember if it was Courtney or DB, or maybe it was Fiend, or maybe it was all three of you. I was asking, like, where are the ADA lawyers, and like, why aren't we seeing briefs and outrage from, because mental illness, much like physical illness, is you qualify for disability. I mean, there have been instances in Westville where an individual with a diagnosis of schizophrenia, psychosis, before he was arrested and incarcerated, was approved for disability through the Social Security Administration, and was put in Westville and treated you know, like they treat severely mentally ill inmates in Westville, and he sued him, rightfully so. But his designation as an individual with a disability, that's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to violate anybody's rights, especially their bodily autonomy and their human rights and their, you know, human dignity. But you don't want to fuck with ADA. You don't want to fuck with that. So like, why are we not seeing more done? Is my rhetorical question. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. That's all. I have not seen this person in here before, so I'm happy that they're here. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Fiend, go on. I liked what you're saying. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say about like the class. I think that I don't know. I think that it's still a good letter because it may force some action because it's you know formulated that way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll look at it and be like, oh, our actual rule is just to charge whatever it costs, you know,
Yeah.
which might be half the price.
Yeah.
And you know that's movement in the right direction because that's a far more fair thing to do than just having an arbitrary price per page that has no tie to the reality of what it costs them, and they're just pocketing it. Like
Right.
that would be they're not a business. They're not trying to make money. Like
They shouldn't. Yeah, they
like,
certainly
I
shouldn't
mean,
be.
you're asking for information from the court, and you know that's not a racket. Don't make it one.
Right.
That's a weird fucking thing to do.
It is a weird fucking thing to do. I totally agree. Totally agree with you. What about the appendix conversation? You got anything to add there, kid?
I mean, I am, you know, hashtag not a lawyer and hashtag not a doctor, but my understanding is that you had one appendix generally. I saw Travis in the chat, and he was, you know, going on, you know, that some people do have two I don't know if it's appendixes or appendices.
Appendum, I thought, is what Luke said.
Appendum?
If Luke said appendum, I'm not going to argue with
Maybe.
Luke about grammar. I'm just saying.
I'd take everything with a grain of salt from Luke.
Y'all are funny. I feel like we need to have like
He's
a
also
debate.
not a doctor, to my knowledge. What we need is a doctor to tell us then.
Appendale.
I don't know. Like, I mean, the thing is, there's maybe there's not a word for two.
I like appendum.
Appendixes because
Appendices.
you only have one.
I like appendum. I'm going to use the word appendum, even though Luke just informed me that it's not real. So, well.
Okay, I'm gonna go with what Luke says here because that sounds correct. Appendixes, if it's anatomy, which it is. Now he said law. See, these should both be the same. You don't have like different, different plurals for different usages. Like it's the same. It should be the same for every usage if it's the same word.
But it has it right. But it's a different meaning. It's the same word, but it means a different thing. Like an organ versus like a piece of paper, right?
So sometimes you would say geese, but sometimes you would say gooses.
I always say gooses. Like sleuthy gooses.
Touche.
Yeah. Sleuthy gooses. Appendixes. What's the plural of well, yeah, never mind.
What?
Octopus? I was trying to think of designated disability coordinator. So I wonder, if there have been other cases, and I don't know the answer. This might be like not a thing. But have there been other cases of, well, you have to consider the pretrial nature of the defendant, which would probably not. But have there been cases where like somebody has filed a brief on behalf of like an inmate or a prisoner or a defendant who's has like a disability whose rights are being violated? You know what I'm saying? Has there been like ADA claims or briefs written about that in other cases? I wonder. That's rhetorical. That's a me question.
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's incumbent on a prisoner or a pretrial detainee to like initiate that stuff themselves. So that's wholly dependent on what sort of support they're getting and whether they take that initiative or their support system takes that initiative themselves, which I don't have any insight into.
You see this, Fiend?
Which thing?
The Department of Justice intervenes in those instances. What would you like to know about ADA and county jails and state prisons? I mean, everything, basically. I mean, not right now, the second, but like if you have, just because it's the, so they're using terms.
Well, drop Travis a link.
Oh, I don't know how to. Can somebody send Travis? Can DB send?
He'll tell us all about it for like.
Well, I would like to, just because like they're using words. Oh, yeah. Well, they're using words like grave disability or right grave disability.
Yeah, usage of the word grave at all like
Yeah.
sends up a lot of red flags for me personally. Like
Yeah,
that's
like
that's a big
intervention.
deal. Like
Intervention required.
I know what you're saying when you say grave.
Yeah, I think like grave disability, like you're gonna die soon if you don't get like intervention or something.
Typically,
you know,
the
that's what I think of.
the general usage of the word grave. Yeah, like it's very, very serious.
They
I think
must
it's a little bit interesting that like, you know, Walla is kind of like flip flop like between like who's owning her as far as like pro prosecution and pro defense people, because like she's kind of been on both sides of things. Like,
Well, I don't claim her.
It's incredible. You don't claim her, yeah.
I don't claim that.
I wouldn't claim her either.
I don't want her.
But very problematic, but you know, also saying some things that are like, I mean, that are problematic on the other side of things as well. Like,
well, yeah, I trust her clinical. It's not that, and I think I trust her clinical assessment of psychosis of Alan, right? Based on what she's saying and the words she's using. My issue with her is that she did nothing. Like you don't just diagnose somebody and then just watch them suffer through their diagnosis and deteriorate and worsen. Like the point of a diagnosis, you're giving the diagnostic information is supposed to inform treatment. So you diagnose somebody as gravely disabled or psychotic so that you can treat them in accordance with those diagnoses, like get them the fuck out of Westville and get them to a psych unit to stabilize them. So she like stopped short of actually doing anything fucking useful, in my opinion. Sorry.
Well, I mean, she said, you know, she basically just said, "There's only so much I can do. Like, I'm not actually in control of like what happens at this place," which like that's actually like understandable and relatable. Like, yeah, probably not. Like, she can probably say whatever she wants, and like,
right, but
I mean, they're only gonna listen to her as much as they listen to her, and she may already know, like, well, it doesn't matter what I'm gonna say because they're not gonna listen to me.
Right, Travis. I actually asked Teresa and Sleuthy for your email today. In fact, you read my mind because I would, if you would do us the honor, would really like to have you on, like soon. So, I'll have my people contact your people. AKA, I'll send you an email later. Sorry, Fiend, go ahead. Yeah, I don't love it, Fiend. I don't love it. I wouldn't want to be gravely disabled in Westville Correctional Facility for sure. Did we lose Fiend now too?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
We're still really close to the electric workout, man. Full moon.
I know. Wait, so how long do we get to experience this
No,
lunar
it's
phenomenon?
over. It's just residual effects.
Yeah, but the effects of such, the gravitational pull of the phenomena, I imagine, lasts. I mean, there's some residual magic. There's some residual
Right. I mean, I'm gonna
interactivity.
throw my phone against the floor, and
How do you think Judge Gull is celebrating?
she's probably just smashing people's phones. That's probably how she celebrates every occasion.
Probably so.
She probably has just like a whole bag of cell phones that she's confiscated over the years, and when she has like a bad day, she just
Smashes them?
she just pulls ones out and just fucking smashes it with a hammer.
Their gavel. Oh my gosh. Did I send you? I think I
With
probably
the gavel, yeah.
Yeah, with the gavel. She has one specially just for smashing electronics. Why does this make me laugh so much? It's so like it's so stupid, Fiend. But maybe she is. Maybe she is.
She might. I don't know. We're
God.
just speculating here. Like it's
That's
based
true.
off like some piece of reality. So let's not wildly speculate on it and just say yes. That's probably what happens. is
Yeah.
when she has a bad day. She pulls
She
a
goes
phone
home.
out of her bag and that she confiscated at a prior hearing, and she just smashes the fuck out of it. That's probably what happens. It's called deductive reasoning.
Uh-huh. It is called. Yep. That's what it's called. Good for her, man. She once I found this article. It's from like 2010, maybe. No, 2012. I don't know what it's from. It's from like the last 10 years, let's say. And like a well-known attorney, I think he's like a contracts attorney or something, but he like works in and around the Allen County Courthouse like all the time. He's always in and out. And he saw this he like missed, it was like a new policy that you can't even have them in the building, never mind like powered off or like in the whatever main. So he had it powered off, and he was like, he didn't have time to like put it, I don't know, in his car or whatever. So she had their bailiff confiscate it and smash his phone. She destroyed his phone. This is an attorney in her courtroom. Destroyed his phone because he made a mistake.
Well, we know that. I mean, I don't know. I think that that's like exaggerated a lot. Like, I'm sure that that's actually happened in the past, but like, I think she's like, there's the legend of her doing that, and she kind of like stands on it. Like, look, I actually really did that one time, but I mean, I sat like 3 seats down from Librato, and his phone was going off in the middle of the hearing, and they didn't confiscate his phone and smash it.
Yeah, but that's because he has so also part of her policy is that if you can file to get approval, and then you get a special little stamp or sticker or mark on your court ID, your courthouse identification that says that you're allowed to have electronics. So,
That's so. Yeah, I mean, I
she
think
plays
I've heard
favorites.
that as well. There's some people that have exemptions, and they can just sneak their phones in there and let them ring to their heart's content. I mean,
Well, the cows come home.
that's weird. Like, like if you're gonna have a rule, like the rule should be the rule.
I agree.
Either there's no phones or there are phones. And then she fucked up this last hearing, and she told everybody that, like, hey, you can bring your phones in. And then whenever we brought their phones in, they're like, you can't have your phones in here. And people had to collect up the phones and like lock them in a car. Like, I really thought that like someone was gonna break into that car and steal like 30 cell phones.
Yeah.
They're lucky they didn't. The crime haven that is Delphi,
If you're a pig, maybe. If you're a swine or a boar, you're not safe there. Remember a couple months ago when like 80 gallons of pig blood spilled on the road in Delphi? Do you remember that?
I didn't remember that was Delphi. I do remember reading that article, and it's terrifying. But
Seems
yeah,
kind of,
I do
yeah.
recall that it was near there. But like, yeah, that's not good.
It's not good, right?
I'm kind of wondering I wonder who the driver was. Do you think it was Josh Chrisman? Like, I almost like want to do some additional research into that.
Well, ask and you shall receive, Fiend. That's why you're here. That is why you're here. So,
No, we do. I think DB's wrong. I think we do know that it was pig blood. It was pig blood. There it is with receipts. DB
I think
wrong.
that he's.
Wrong
I think
again.
he's.
Wrong again.
I think he's doing like a bit. Like I think he's doing like a Fiend bit. Like he's saying we don't know if it was pig blood, and then it's like he's attributing that to Fiend. Unless I'm wrong, I'm not the DB. Obviously, I'm not the DB whisperer. But what do they make out of pig blood? Let's read this. Traffic was moving slowly on US 421 area as crews cleaned up thousands. Thousands? Does that say thousands? Thousands of gallons
Does
of
it
pig
say
blood.
thousands?
It says thousands.
We don't know. We don't know. Like, really know.
Thousands,
I think
yeah.
we do know if it says thousands or it doesn't say thousands.
I undershot that.
Also, like if it's a, if it's that size of a tanker, like obviously it's thousands.
Right. Yeah. Thousands of gallons of pig blood.
Congressman Mike Lawler stands up
Mike
for working
Lawler.
families. By working to remove the cap on state and local property tax deductions,
The views
he's helping
expressed by
put
this
more
ad
money back into your pockets. Mike Lawler
represent
for a
mine 'cause I
stronger New York.
have any.
Noon, crews on US 421 cleaned up thousands of gallons of pig blood that spilled on the road earlier this morning. Police say a semi with a tank trailer coming from Indiana Packers spilled 5,000 gallons of pig blood onto the road west of Delphi around 8 a.m. this morning. Carroll County's emergency management director explains what caused the leak from the truck.
Mike Fincher.
A Biotown ag truck that was
Boo!
hauling pig's blood,
Poor
and
Mike.
it overpressurized and started spewing out the top.
Well, 421 was closed for about an hour while the Delphi Fire Department rinsed off the road. It now has been reopened.
Oh, good. They rinsed it off, so don't worry. It overpressurized and it started spewing out the top. Can you imagine driving behind that vehicle, that truck, that tanker, whatever the fuck, and just seeing thousands of gallons of pig blood just spewing out the top of it?
I mean, that's pretty terrifying, and I think I've read up about this before, and it's apparently they never cleaned it up. They let it sit there forever.
I believe that. That is not hard.
Which is not good. Like, I mean, I get like where there's like a raccoon dead in the middle of the road and no one ever
There's what?
picks it up. When there's a raccoon dead in the middle of the road.
A raccoon?
A raccoon.
Okay.
And no one picks it up. But like, thousands of gallons of pig blood all over the road and you never cleaned it up. That's a little bit of a different situation. Like,
yeah. So
that's fucking gross.
They just rinsed it off?
I don't even think they did that. I think they were just like, fuck it.
A raccoon. Why were they transporting blood?
Oh, you don't want to know the answer to that, Tammy, because I looked up the answer and I was horrified.
What is the answer? I want to know.
No, you don't want to know.
I want to know.
They use pig blood in a lot of things. Like
Odinist things?
No, well, I mean, possibly. I mean, I think the Odinists like to kill the pig themselves. Hey, you know what? You like skipped over so much of that last thing that you read.
Oh, what last thing?
That memorandum to...
No, I didn't.
No, you did. You got like halfway through it, and then you were like, well, I'm just gonna not read the rest.
Oh, the other day you mean?
Yeah.
I know I did, and then you.
Well, I mean, there's some like.
You want me to pull it
interesting
up?
things in there, like when you start, you're like, oh, do you want to skip? You want
You
to
got
skip Brad
time,
Holder? Do you want to skip Elvis Fields? Do you want to skip Patrick Westphal? Like, no, don't skip those things because there's some OJ like knows what she's doing.
There's some tea.
She added some things, but anyway,
you want me to pull it up?
I thought it was interesting that they added in there that
pull it up.
Westphal had sacrificed the chicken because, like, I hadn't heard of that before. Like the
chicken.
The animal sacrifice thing is where you like. That's not like I'm not imagining that like all Odinists are like crazy fucking motherfuckers, but like,
why are we
sacrificing? There's certain like there's certain sects
There's certain what?
sects sects of Odinism that like do emphasize like, you know, you got to be real about this. You got to do the animal sacrifice. Like you got to do it.
Yeah.
And
sure.
Those are far more like in the minority, but like certainly there are some that do that. I think it's interesting that like obviously like Patrick Westphal was like going down that path of, hey, we need to sacrifice an animal.
That's fucking weird, man.
Because a lot of times they're very happy to be like, I'm sacrificing, you know, this mead, which I'm also going to drink. So it's also not really a sacrifice at all.
Right. It doesn't have to be a living right. It doesn't have to be like a living, breathing. Okay, Fiend, take it away.
What? Am I supposed to be able to read that?
You can't read it? Well, which part specifically? Because I skipped all of this because I was like, you know, tired. But it's important. And you actually pointed out a few things to me after the fact that I like.
Well, I mean, I think that one of the big things is Elvis that I recall off the top of my head is the beginning of the Elvis Fields part.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because they established a connection, a nexus, right?
Yeah, from his own words, his like Elvis Fields' deposition.
There we go.
He admits to knowing of Brad Holder, which is something that a ton of people said, this is ridiculous. There's no way in hell that Elvis Fields knew Brad Holder. They live like an hour away, which is dumb. Well, like if you live in Indiana, you know that like an hour away is like not very far.
Let's read it, shall we? This part, you want to? I'll read it. You don't want to read it, Fiend? You brought it up. You had a qualm, so let's address the qualm because I think this is important, you know? You're muted. Maybe you know that. Okay, I'll read it. Okay, fine. Twist my arm. All the boys leave. I don't know where they go. Elvis Fields, a Rushville, Indiana resident, is a suspect in this case who was investigated by law enforcement. There's no doubt that Elvis Fields knew of the existence of Brad Holder. He admitted as much in his deposition. Whoa, I didn't know that. Additionally, Detective Kevin Murphy testified that Brad Holder can be linked to Elvis Fields through Facebook posts, and that Elvis Fields' Facebook posts mimicked those of Brad Holder. Elvis Fields testified in his deposition that Brad Holder frequently mimicked his Facebook. Wait, Elvis Fields testified in his deposition that Brad Holder frequently mimicked his Facebook posts.
I don't know if that's a misstatement, but like, I mean, I don't know. The whole mimicking thing is like supplemental to this very base fact that Elvis Fields just straight up says, oh yeah, I know Brad Holder. Okay, we didn't hear that before.
In a deposition, no less, right? He just like outright just offers up that information.
Right.
So,
Like, oh, I know Brad Holder.
wow.
So,
last-
so
yeah, go ahead.
then the mimicking stuff isn't all that strange when you're like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Like,
Right, because otherwise it's like, why is this creepy weirdo
yeah,
just like...
it's not like this huge jump when the guy is just like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Like,
Yeah.
you know that guy in Logansport. Oh
Wait,
yeah.
look, it's not
Yeah.
it's not a misstatement. It's a logical conclusion that Brad Holder knew Elvis in some manner if he was mimicking Elvis Field's Facebook posts. It'd be exceedingly rare for a stranger to follow someone's posts and even rarer to mimic them. So they're mimicking each other is what they're saying.
I mean, I think that's what they're saying. I don't know. I mean, there is evidence of that. I mean, I think by itself it's a little bit shaky. But like when you have a foundation of like, yes, I know that guy, then it's a lot less shaky.
Yeah. They, after one such interview, okay. Former Rushville Assistant Police Chief Todd Click testified Elvis Field was a suspect or accomplice in the murders and that he was interviewed several times by law enforcement. After one such interview, in which law enforcement collected a buccal swab from Elvis Fields, Detective Kevin Murphy drove Elvis home. Detective Murphy testified that after he got out of his car, he returned and asked Detective Murphy if his spit was found on one of the girls, but he could explain it away. Would he still be in trouble? It's expected Elvis will continue to deny asking the question at trial, making it improper impeachment evidence. This statement is also impeachment evidence contradicting his statement that he was never in Delphi. She's good. This is
She's
right?
really good because she added some of this. This is some of like, I mean, I think they want to be a little bit cagey with details,
right?
But she's handpicked a few to drop in here, and like, man, I just really hope that Gull is reading this with a keen eye, which
please,
I don't have the highest hopes, but like anybody that does read it with a keen eye, like realizes that there's some extremely like relevant details that are dropped, like are sprinkled into this filing that are very significant.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you skip to the Patrick Westfall section,
okay, let me do that.
the chicken sacrifice, you know, that's a big red flag for me. The chicken sacrifice is not something I have heard before. I think that's fucking weird as fuck.
Let's do it. Brad Holder's connected.
Hey, Angela, before we start,
yes, sir.
Have you ever sacrificed a chicken?
Have I ever sacrificed a chicken?
Yeah.
Have I ever sacrificed a chicken?
Do you know of anybody that's sacrificed a chicken? You're gonna say yes.
No, I know of people that have killed
question.
chickens.
I retract my question.
Okay, I know of people that have killed chickens. My friend's aunt. No, never mind.
Well,
okay.
People kill chickens and eat them, but have they sacrificed them to a foreign god?
Oh, I've certainly not done that. Have you? Fiend?
No.
Have you sacrificed a chicken to a foreign god?
I have not. No. When chickens were in my care, they were well taken care of, and you know it sucks because you have to get up the ass crack of dawn and let them out of their fucking hen house, and then like through in the snow in the Indiana winters, like you gotta go out there and do it.
How many chickens did you have, Fiend?
I think I had 4 at one time.
Chickens?
Yeah, I was left with them. They were my ex-wife's chickens.
She left her chickens?
Yes, she did. But when she got the chickens back, I believe that some of them were not better off. I think dogs ate some of the chickens.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's all just
so that was a lot of work that I put in for, like, oh, look at me being nice, taking care of these chickens for them to get their heads ripped off.
But what else are you gonna do? You're not gonna not take care of them.
Oh, well, I would always take care of animals. I'm an
Right.
animal lover. Like, hey, I thought
know.
that was an interesting thing that like T brought up on her live the other night about Rick Allen being a dog sitter, because like people that are like mean to animals, like kind of like more associate that with like like the entry level serial killer stuff. The people who are nice to animals like are generally considered to be like fairly compassionate people, and not people that are like prone to murder or double homicide or like.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think people think that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to kill anybody. I like animals. Like,
Of course you do. I need to know more about this. Did you want to talk about the chicken? Let's talk about the chicken, though. Okay.
yeah, just find the I think it's
I
at the
know.
very
You
beginning
know,
of the
but, like-
Patrick Westphal thing.
Okay. So this is Pat Westphal. They knew each other from an army deployment in Afghanistan. Patrick Westphal and Brad Holder practiced asatru. According to Patrick Westphal interview August 27th. Thanks, Sleuth Intuition. They were members of a small kindred, which is a group of people who believe in asatru and who gathered to hold meetings and worship the gods. Patrick Westphal is a priest or a holy man in the asatru religion and hosted kindreds at his home in Delphi on Sundays. Brad Holder attended these meetings.
I mean, this is by itself. This is one of the things that's also crazy, is that like we literally know that Brad Holder was in Delphi every Sunday.
Right.
And then we have lots of documented instances of exact days that he was there, including Sundays and other days. But then we try to say like, oh, it's completely impossible that he was there on the day of this day. Completely impossible. That's ridiculous. That's a silly thing to say. It's a completely ridiculous, silly thing to say that it's completely impossible that he was there on that day. When we know all these other days, like, I don't know, you're pushing upwards of like 20% of the days here of days that he's definitely in Delphi.
Right. Yeah. So he's there every Sunday. Right.
Every Sunday, yeah. I mean, as far as, or probably most Sundays, but like.
Okay, so a Monday.
Oh yeah, there's definitely documented instances where like he's there the Sunday and spends the night into the Monday day.
Okay.
I'll shut up, DB.
No, don't let DB bully you. We've talked about this, DB. DB and I have talked about our tone. Okay. Then again, it is y'all's channel.
Just read the chicken sacrificing part.
Okay, Holder and Westphal attended a pagan ritual videotaped by Brad Holder in 2016 in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which was entered into evidence. Near the end of the video, Patrick Westphal appears to be marking the tree with his hand. Major Cicero testified that a tree to crime scene was marked with the blood of Liberty German. Dr. Perlmutter testified the mark was in the form of a rune. Major Cicero admitted that whoever sliced Liberty German's throat could have Liberty German's blood on their hands. The forensic pathologist who conducted the autopsy admitted that that upon slicing Liberty German's neck, the amount of blood and the force of that blood exiting her neck upon slicing would have been very powerful, squirting as far as 4 to 6 feet, no problem. Therefore, the jury could conclude that upon slicing her neck, the blood forcefully covered the killer's hand, who then used that blood to mark the tree. Patrick Westphal told police that he had sacrificed a chicken by cutting off its head. Weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, that's
the thing that kind of jumps out to me as far as.
Why would he tell law enforcement that he cut a chicken's head off to sacrifice it, what do you think would prompt a person being interviewed by law enforcement?
Probably trying to convert them. You know, they're ripe for the picking.
He is a holy man and a priest.
Yeah. You know, you spread the gospel of Odin.
Sorry. Yeah. Dr. Perlmutter testified that sacrifices are almost always carried out by slitting the throat of the animal or person being sacrificed, and therefore the practitioners of these religions often begin with animal sacrifices. As mentioned earlier, Amber Holder testified that Brad Holder stated that Pat Westphal wanted to elevate from animal to human sacrifice. This sounds kind of like DB's gonna, I could hear his eyes rolling from here, but this kind of does sound like the trajectory and the escalation of a serial killer. Just saying.
Right. That's the immediate thing that kind of triggers as far as, well, you know, that there's things about Brad Holder that align with that as well, like
right.
him stomping rats in the landfill. That's a pretty horrific thing to do. You know, that's usually the progression of serial killers, that they start off with small animals and progress.
Right.
Well, it's not definitive by any means, but like when you see evidence that, like, hey, here's these things, here's Brad Holder killing rats, and here's Patrick Westphal cutting a chicken's head off, sacrificing it to Odin, like, okay, I'm gonna chalk one up in the theory column.
That's a great point. This guy supposedly reenacted the crime scene, remember? And he's like, I didn't record it.
I don't know why these people do this, because we saw the same sort of stuff in the Karen, or was it Karen Reed? I don't.
Yes.
Was
the Karen Reed evidence collection was like
no, it wasn't. It wasn't Karen. It was a different trial, wasn't it? Where the guy was tossing the phone around. No, it was Murdoch.
Oh, Murdoch. He was just throwing it. He was just
like, hey, I threw the phone around, like, and like, did you record any of this? And you're like, no.
And then he's, well, I don't know. Maybe this is actually an accepted form of. But he put. I don't
think it's accepted. I
talked about he put his hands under the
random
armpits.
things, and like they're like, yeah, get up on stage and say whatever. Like, you got this, dude. Like, no, don't do that. Like,
oh my God,
do some science. Do some science. # science.
Do you know about witching sticks, Fiend?
No, I don't think I know about witching.
Oh my God, I'm about to show you.
Oh God, is this related to Twix?
No, it's not related to Twix. It's not related to Twix or Twigs. Where is it? Witching. Aha. This is where Cicero teaches. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And start sharing. How? Oh, God. Here. Present. No, didn't the Murdoch coroner or ME say that he put his hands underneath the deceased's armpits, and that's how he determined the body temperature and cause of time of death? Did I hallucinate that? I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
I didn't watch all of that. I kind of like picked up towards the end where it started getting spicy.
Delphi Dummies keeps making fun of me, Fiend. They make fun of me because I ate Cheerios one time on a live.
What kind of Cheerios? Just regular Cheerios?
Like dry Honey Nut Cheerios in a baggie. I was hungry. And I was crunching on dry Cheerios, God forbid. And then Delphi Dummies has made like 4 videos of me just eating Cheerios. I don't get it. What's so
I
funny?
mean, if they were regular Cheerios, I would get it more because that would be kind of.
Lame.
I mean, I would be concerned if it was
Yeah.
just Cheerios.
It's like squirrel snacks. Okay, let's read this fucking batshit crazy shit really quick. So, yeah, and I was looking around the room, I guess. God. Cheerios are sausages in New Zealand. Okay, witching. Let's do it. Oh my god, I got something in my eye.
I eat dry cereal sometimes, and what the dry cereal I eat is peanut butter Goling Crunch like Kashi cereal because it's awesome. You don't need milk for that shit. It's delicious.
It's like the healthy version of Reese's Puffs.
Well, there's no
cereal, but they're
chocolate.
certainly the cereal of a child. Just saying.
I mean, children are eating like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They're not.
Y'all make me sorry I shared that with you. Gosh.
You're getting a lot of Cheerios. Hey,
A lot of heat. Honey Nut is bomb. Okay.
what's up, Noe?
You redeemed yourself. Hi, Noe. Welcome. Okay. Witching sticks. At the National Forensic Academy, crime scene investigators learned to douse for the dead. Did you hear what I said, Fiend? They douse for the dead. Though it's not backed by science, but they do it at the National Forensic Academy, apparently.
Douse?
Douse. D-O-W-S-E. I'm about to tell you what that is. Hi, Noe. That's true. That's a good point. Thank you. Okay. There's a body buried here somewhere. 5 crime scene investigators wearing white Tyvek suits and purple latex gloves pace through a Tennessee woodland in a slow wave, searching for areas of sunken ground and other clues that might indicate a gravesite. The chill morning air, I can't read this, is scented with loam, leaves, pine needles, and a hint of human decay. The agents mark 3 suspicious depressions in the dirt with red flags and discuss their options for investigating further. One student asks about dowsing rods. You want to use some? Replies Arpad Voss, an instructor at the National Forensic Academy in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, where law enforcement officers come to learn how to use science to solve crimes, at least in theory. I use them on everything. There are no official dowsing rods at hand, but that doesn't matter. You can use the flags, Voss offers. Bend them like you would coat hangers. Fred Ponce, a private detective from Miami, Florida, with a dark mustache and beard, gets right to work. He tears the red plastic rectangles off 2 stakes and spaces his hand to measure about 12 inches of straight steel, then bends the remaining metal into handles. Holding the stakes like 6-shooters, he walks over one of the suspected grave sites. The stakes cross. He does it again. They cross. And again they cross. I'm not kidding, Ponce says, marveling at his do-it-yourself grave finder seems to be working. This looks like it. This looks like our guy. There he is. There's Voss. Vass. A 62-year-old wearing a blue CSI Death Valley cap is teaching his students witching, aka divining or dowsing. It's a centuries-old practice in which a person walks a straight line holding 2 bent pieces of metal or sometimes a Y-shaped twig until they signal the presence of whatever is being sought underground. Water witches douse for groundwater. Others use divining rods for seeking precious gems, oil, gold, or, as in this case, human remains. Dowsing for the dead is not exactly endorsed by scientists or forensic experts, but it is a highlight for some students attending the National Forensic Academy, a 10-week training program sponsored by the University of Tennessee. Since the Academy's inaugural class 20 years ago, school administrators say more than 1,200 crime scene investigators from agencies in 49 U.S. states and 5 foreign countries have attended the programs, which currently costs $12,000. The Washington Post once nicknamed the Academy the Harvard of hellish violence, and students now wear that slogan on their t-shirts as they analyze blood stain patterns and fingerprint corpses. They also excavate skeletons from grave sites and collect bugs from decaying bodies sprawled on the ground at a wooded site outside of town. Near graduation, instructors blow up a car for a real-life lesson on fire scenarios and explosives. In May 2021, I spent a week at the academy, where administrators and students described Vass as brilliant, a genius. Some students go on to use his witching techniques in their own investigations. He says he's convinced his methods work. But scholarly research...
Oh, dowsing, like dowsing rods.
What did I say, dowsing?
No, yeah, no, same
Dowsing?
thing.
Dowsing.
I just made that.
Yeah. Dowsing rods. Outside experts I spoke with, professional forensic anthropologists and lawyers, as well as law enforcement officers involved with police training reforms, say that they're alarmed that a leading training program is teaching the pseudoscience of witching. They're also concerned about the repercussions for criminal justice at a time where many mainstream forensic techniques have proven to be unreliable, including blood spatter patterns, bite mark comparisons, and faulty interrogation techniques. In the last 2 decades, hundreds of cases built on these methods have been overturned by DNA evidence. In 2009, a report by the National Academy of Sciences concluded that nuclear DNA analysis is the only forensic technique that can support claims in court that evidence matches a specific individual or source. So, while dowsing for the dead may seem particularly wacky, it's just the most extreme example of a problem affecting the forensic practices many Americans have seen touted on television for years, said Randy Shrewsbury, a retired police officer who founded the nonprofit Institute for Criminal Justice Training Reform. Law enforcement regularly accept the flaws of these practices, despite the life-altering impacts that can occur when they're wrong. Sherhard. In particular, some experts are distressed that a Voss trainee recently got witching results admitted as evidence in a Georgia murder trial. Like what? That's terrifying. This could set a legal precedent and allow witching-based evidence to be used in other cases, says Chris Fabricant. These are some wacky names. Is it just me? These are wacky. A lead attorney for the Innocence Project. Okay, well, we like Chris, even though his
Mothman is a wacky name.
Mothman is wacky, too. Fair enough. The search for truth is never advanced through junk science. The Academy defended its teaching of witching, saying it's only one of the techniques it shows its students. The program relies on its instructors to relay their extensive knowledge. Jason Jones, a forensic training specialist with the Academy, wrote in an email adding that witching doesn't create false evidence. You either find the remains or you don't. You're not trying to alter anything. That's not how it works. Oh my God. As for Vass,
how anything works.
No, that's not how anything. No, you're right. That's not how anything works. As for Vass, he says dowsing is based on scientific principles, and the fact that it was admitted in court is proof of the techniques.
That it's based on scientific principles.
I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's really long, but that's fabulous.
Here's what I would find. Here's what a little bit more relevant that I'd find interesting is the
Okay, Pete, tell us.
I think that there's I think there's like some reasons that you could challenge Perlmutter and her credibility, but like I think it's really weird that those like the more reasonable things to challenge her on aren't things that are brought up.
Right.
So one, that's weird. Like, why not do the obvious thing? But one thing that we know is just claim that she's trained all of these law enforcement agents. I'd be curious to know like more about that. Which law enforcement agents? Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, we know that like some relevant law enforcement agents have been trained in some pretty questionable things. Have any of these law enforcement agents been trained by Perlmutter herself? I would like to know more details about that.
You mean like
relevant law enforcement agents have received questionable training, very controversial training. So is this just more controversial training that they may also have received?
Perlmutters? Or
I don't know. Like It's very relevant. Like this is one of the things that like people just like want to overlook is that like you're like upwards of a dozen like or about a 10 or a dozen people that we for sure knew about the Odinism type of elements.
Yeah.
They absolutely did.
Right.
Like it's just right there documented. Investigators on this case. And then we're going to pretend that like, oh, the defense team made it all up. That's dumb. Like that's very stupid thing to think.
Or it's like the defense team.
Obviously, like,
yeah.
Oh, they're just reading through the discovery and been like, well, they're like, what the fuck? Like, there's all this shit about Odinism. Like, they're just looking through the discovery. You know, that's their baseline of like their baseline is far more than anybody else at all. Like, we don't know anything. The defense team knows far more than we know. You know, the prosecution probably knows a little bit more because they keep like delaying giving things to the defense team.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff to know about this case, and we don't know any of it, but the defense team does. And so like when you're putting forth the theory of what happened, who might be implicated in this crime, like if one side is saying what they think happened and the other side is not saying what they think happened, you know, I'm going to just generally lean a little bit more towards the side that says, here's what we think happened. Like, here's who we think are involved. Like the state would be more than welcome to put forth their theory of the case.
They still haven't.
Exactly what they think happened. But they haven't done that. They've never done that. I find that very, very concerning.
I don't think they can. I don't think they even can.
I mean, they could, but then they could be wrong.
Well, they're certainly going to be wrong.
Well,
like, how are they going to... How could they have a theory of the case when they don't even have a time of death? You know?
well,
That's going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean... It's not great, you know. If you put Jerry Holman up on the stand and he says, well, based on like cell phone activity, the time frame for the murders, not death, the murders is, or the crimes, be as general as possible.
Yeah, they like to call them crimes.
Committed
the crimes as alleged.
I mean, like, but there's zero science that backs that up. Like nothing. There's not one bit of like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people like this is a very broader issue that some people like fully live in like a scientific age, and some people like definitely do not live in that same age. Like science and empirical thinking like means nothing to them. Like believe what you want to believe, and just like it doesn't matter if it's totally imaginary. Like it can be like Odin, or it can be like bite marks, or extraction marks, whatever. Like you can just believe whatever you want to believe. Like doesn't matter what the science says.
Well, look at the Karen Reed case. They had like so much. The defense experts at least had, I believe, way better evidence based on science and physics. And I mean, still, look at how many people are like, no, I don't believe it. She's a cop killer. It's like,
I mean, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that, I mean, well, first of all, I'm shocked with like the judicial error existed as far as
we talked about
not clarifying that she had been acquitted on most of the charges. That's just completely insane ever happen. But beyond that, yeah, I mean, I am surprised that like you've got these very like third party like scientific representations of what could or could not have happened. Yet the majority of the jury wanted to believe Proctor Trooper, which is like ridiculous. Like I don't know what I don't know what their logic is as far as thinking that.
He's a cop. He's got a
But
cop.
but he was obviously just very wrong and very unqualified to do almost anything. Like,
Yeah, but he's a cop.
it was displayed. Yeah, I know. So that's where you get some, like, I understand that some. The majority is where I'm like a little bit questioning. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure why the majority saw that, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same difference, you know. Like, one is worth 6. It doesn't matter, like, you know, in the court of law. One is worth 11 in the court of law. Like, the jury has to be unanimous on a decision, and 1 is worth 11. It's the exact same thing.
Our Justice Center / jail was built on land where an old cemetery with unmarked graves was said to be. An older deputy used dowsing to find the remains before the jail was built. He did find them. See, I like that kind of shit. I love it.
Well, wouldn't there be remains where an old cemetery is?
Probably so. But I just like it's probably like an old, like, passed down tradition of like it's like an old, like, technique that, like, is not scientifically backed, but like if you hit gold, then
I mean, so that's yeah. So I mean, I agree and disagree. Like, I don't think there's any scientific basis to it, but yes, just walking around and looking and actually trying is better than not actually trying at all. Like, that's where you get like some results. You're gonna get more results when you are walking around and looking.
Yeah.
Versus being a lazy sack of shit and not fucking walking around and looking at all, which is like the alternative, because that's what these people do. They don't fucking try.
That's fair. That's true. They want the killer to, and the corpses and the remains to come to them.
You want someone to call in and be like, "Oh, my friend did that."
They want, yeah. They really are very lazy, Fiend. In this
Well,
case.
no, I mean, so that's the thing is there's, you know, I mean, it's just basic psychology. They're rewarded for being lazy because the more you fail, the more money you get. So the more you fail, the more money you get. Like, if you're not successful, you can say, well, we don't have the resources for it, and give us more money. So they get more money. Then they try even less.
What do you mean? Oh, because they're like, oh, we're underfunded, we're under resourced, and so we need.
Like, it's not our fault that we're failing. It's our fault because we don't have enough money.
Well, no, it's the public's
Give us
fault
more
because
money.
they posted side by sides. So it's really the public's fault. It's social media's fault and the media.
Well, I mean, I think we know for sure that's not the public's fault, because the public only had what they exactly gave them, and that was not successful. So, I mean, the CVS is right across from the fucking police station, like, and literally everybody goes to the CVS. That's the only pharmacy in town. Like, it's ridiculous to think that, like, if, like, you can't make the logical connections here that make any of this make sense. Like,
no,
either the you know, the video frames are completely useless, or Rick Allen is not the guy. Like, you gotta pick one. You can't, like, have it both ways. These people always try to have it both ways.
They do want it both ways.
This investigation was fantastic, but it's not a big deal that they never followed up with Rick Allen when he showed up 2 days later and said, "Hey, I was at the trail." Oh, great investigation, dude. Like, no, it can only be one way or the other. Either they're as incompetent can be, or he's the guy. You can't have it both ways. You can't say both.
Right. Hey, Mar. Hi, Mar. Mar. Well, but so what are they going to do if they cannot locate Dan Doolin's fucking whatchamacallit?
What,
You know?
the tip narrative? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
like-
know that that's that all that relevant. I don't know that's all that relevant who took the tip. Like, somebody took the tip, it got entered, here's the narrative of like the chain of events.
Right.
Rick Allen called into the tip line. Somebody called his tip. Like, somebody took his tip narrative. They arranged for somebody to meet with him. Somebody met with him. It was a DNR guy. They wrote down what they wrote down, and then that was it. And that's all that happened, which is weird because you would think that if that's either there's something missing, there's something misrepresented, there was further follow-up here that we're not privy to.
But it's going to be Dan Doolin's word against Rick Allen's word. And obviously we're going to take, well, not we, but like a jury's probably going to take the word of a DNR officer, fire chief with a
I'm not
Scotch Guard shirt.
This is one of the more conspiratorial things that like I've just heard a lot of times, and often from pro-prosecution people. The Thomas Skinner took the tip, and I think there's a lot of reason to think that maybe that might be true.
Why?
Why? Well,
Yeah.
just going off of evidence, one, between the search warrant and the PCA, in the search warrant, they said Dan Doolin brought it to Tony Leggett's attention. And in the PCA, they say investigators brought it to Dan Doolin's attention. They very purposely removed Dan Doolin's name from that. And that's when the prosecutor would be involved in being like, let's double check some stuff here. So I think I find it very plausible that it may have been Thomas Skinner. Like, I'm not that it's backed up with anything other than that. I just find it very weird that they would remove Dan Doolin's name just because. I don't know what other reason you would remove Dan Doolin's name.
Why did they redact Tony Liggett's name as the affiant and the author and the investigator?
I don't know. They were very weird about the piece. I mean, why is the PCA not signed by a judge? Like, there's lots
Probably, in my opinion, because it wasn't even fucking authored until after he was in DOC. That's my opinion.
Well, no, I mean,
theory.
the PCA was. I don't know. There's a lot of talk about this, like multiple PCAs, but I don't personally like. I don't know that I see that or like I've been shown that, but I think that the PCA was authored over the weekend where he was detained and not arrested. Like we know that he was detained and not arrested. Like,
yeah, for at least 2 days.
Which is also weird. And it's also like, don't fucking talk to cops without a lawyer, people. Because you wouldn't be detained without being arrested if you had an attorney there. I don't have any idea. I mean, I don't know. Like,
you obviously trusted cops,
right? I mean, that's the assumption here is like there's no other explanation except that, like, he's kind of a back the blue kind of guy and just kind of like going along with things. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. Probably. It's like he was honest and it fucked him. He came forward initially.
I mean, I just haven't seen like
Yeah.
the pieces where he's saying something incriminating in these early statements. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, unless it's only just I own a gun and I never lent it to anybody, which I think is also a very weird thing to ask anybody that owns a gun. Nobody's lending out their fucking like gun to somebody, and then someone brings it back over the weekend and be like, "Trust me,
Here you
bro,
go.
nothing happened.
Nothing
like,
happened.
like,
Yeah.
but ignore the double homicide that I hope it happened over the weekend. Like, no,
They just needed to lock him into being like it was his. They just like needed something to like sound.
I wouldn't give like
It's so
I
stupid though.
wouldn't.
Like who fucking
That's
cares?
so stupid. Yeah, I wouldn't give any weight to that. It's
It's
dumb.
so idiotic. It's not even. It's not even a real fucking. It does. The bullet. Like it's gonna come down to. Do you believe the ballistics and the tests that they did, not the tests that people think they did, the tests that they actually conducted on
Right.
this alleged bullet that are not really super relevant to what they're saying fucking happened? Do they believe ISP and their experts or don't they? I fucking wouldn't.
Yeah,
But
that's the whole thing. It completely comes down to that. You know, there's precedence in Indiana that this type of evidence can come in to trial. Like it probably would have been better if there was a motion to eliminate hearing prior to this being done. But even if it had been, like it still could have come in. But like the end result is that you're going to get, you know, a state expert says these match, and you know they're gonna have to show something to like convince the jury that they actually match, and then you're gonna get a defense expert that says, well, they don't match, and this is also like not very reliable, and like did you like nothing else was tested to compare this to, which is I don't know, like then you land on where like the jury lands on where they land on that. Like they're going to come in. I don't know. This is the thing that's a problem with like science and in the court of law, because you can have something that's like 95% versus 5%, but then you just put two people up there that's then 50%. Like it, get yourself a good witness that is convincing, because that's all that matters. It doesn't really matter what the science is.
well, it kind of comes down to like likability and like how well are they, you know, coming across to the jury, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's 100% it. Then that's where you're gonna have like, I don't know, like, I mean, I get where like the defense team wants to bring a Odinist expert in, because like, what's the counter expert to that? Like, I don't even know. Like, who's gonna go up there and be like, I know all about Odinism, and this is not Odinism. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of them on like Nancy Grace's show, but like, I
Oh God.
I don't find them that compelling.
Fucking Nancy Grace, man. About had it with her. Her and Susan.
Oh, they're not jobs, man.
Her and Susan. Well, it's 12:33. Actually, I'm not going to assume where you are. It's 12:33 where I am.
It's 12:33 where I am too.
Is there anything that we've not covered or discussed tonight, or any final closing thoughts or burning desires that you want to get off your chest?
What's the title of this live? The pre-trial status hearing. I haven't got my predictions out.
Yeah, well,
so I think it's weird as hell that she hasn't ruled on the motion to eliminate, because I think
agree.
Everybody walks in there like, what's the status? This is a status hearing. What is the status? You tell us. Like, you called this hearing. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know how anybody knows what the status is. The motion to eliminate completely determines the entire strategy for both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know
Right?
what they're gonna do.
Unless you're secretly telling one side what's going to happen, then it's going to be a complete surprise.
Well, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, if one side, I don't know. I would hope that they both at this point have like an idea, but
I don't think that they haven't. No, I disagree. I don't think that they have any idea. I don't know how they would have any idea. It would be, unless it's like all in the open and she's telling both sides, then it's completely improper. Like, you can't just be like, wink, wink. Hey, Nick, I'm gonna rule in your favor here. But
you don't think that she's been doing that the whole time?
The defense team should be totally in the dark, and I'm just gonna pop it on them. Like that, I don't know. But it's a little bit too wild to buy. Like, she can't be doing that. Like,
I think she's been doing it. I think she's been doing it.
There's some indication she may have been doing it in the past. Like, you don't continue to do it. I don't know. Like, the Supreme Court, like, wrap your knuckles pretty hard already on this once.
Did they? Did they wrap her knuckles really hard?
I'll say they did it a couple times. Yeah, they've called her out for being completely in the wrong, like, multiple times.
But there's no consequence. Because then they wrote her like an order.
So that's the thing. That's how things work. Like, I don't know. Like,
I hate it.
If you're high enough, like standing, the consequence is just that someone says, and they point their finger at you and said, "Don't do that." Like, there's not a real consequence, but like the shame is the consequence.
But see, I don't think that Judge Gull feels shame.
It's just like Todd Rokita. Like, he has to get shamed by the Supreme Court, and like, he should feel shame, but does he? Probably not, because he's a fucking piece of shit.
And then they wrote her an order where they were basically like, she's fine. She's not biased. She's fine. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but that was based on then, and like, you got a lot more to add to it since then.
Well, I mean, I agree that they should try, for sure.
I would love to see them, somebody get this kicked to the Supreme Court again. That's not limited to like any sort of third party. Brad and Andy could do the same thing. As if you fail on requesting the judge to withdraw, what else do? You have to send it back to the Supreme Court.
Well, let's do it.
They could do that. They could do that. I mean, it's not let us do it. Like, they can do it.
Hi, Lowlight. Yeah, well, why can't we do it?
I mean, somebody in the community could do it. They'd have to be an attorney and know what they're doing. I mean, I think that's maybe part of the issue as far as like, it's a very different skill set as far as writing a writ to the Supreme Court than being a general attorney and a trial attorney. That's just, they're different things. So I'm not aware that Brad or Andy have ever like petitioned the Supreme Court ever in their career. Like, it's just not like a completely common thing to do. So they might be like hesitant to do that.
I don't know. But it's not like they don't have people that could help them do that. Or it's not like they couldn't figure it out. I mean, I think that they just, I don't know. I think that they're preparing for a trial.
I don't know if that's
scary.
I don't know. Here's the most likely scenario here is that, like, hey, Judge Gull like issues a pretty damning ruling on the motion to eliminate last second, which like tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah.
Hearing's Friday.
Well, you think she's going to
whether
Friday?
Whether she does it tomorrow or at the hearing on Friday, if their whole case is based on third party like suspects and she just like pulls the rug from under them and they say, well, we're fucked and we need more time, then I'm like, that's where my logic is going. And they'll probably say, they'll say we need more time, and she'll probably say okay, and like defend. I don't think the prosecution is gonna like argue that hard against it. I'll probably just give them like another year.
God, you think that she's gonna rule before this status hearing on Friday?
I mean, I did think that, but like, I don't know. It gets less likely the closer we get to it. I don't know. I mean, I just know how they go in there and not know. Like, what is the status hearing if we don't know what the motion to eliminate ruling is?
Right. What's our strategy? Our trial strategy?
Yeah. No. Are we ready to go to trial in 2 months? Like, no. Like, we don't even know like whether we can argue our case.
Yeah. No.
And both sides can say that. Like, we don't even know. Like, I don't know how to prepare against what they're going to argue because we don't know. We've got this outstanding motion to eliminate that's like hugely relevant to the entire case.
What's your deal, Fiend?
What's my deal?
No, what's her deal? Not your deal. I know your deal. It's Weircats. What's Judge Gull's deal? Why is she like this?
So I did a lot of research, and like, she's got like a long-standing connection to
Law enforcement?
no, it's
Weircats.
Italian Roman.
What?
I mean, that's just speculation.
Oh, okay. We're just speculating.
I mean, it's true, but making more of a connection to it than necessary is speculation.
Yeah.
She's got a very very nice genealogical
Pedigree?
yeah, pedigree or history that you can actually research. Like, it's like, it's nice for people that like have that, because like I don't know where the fuck it came from. I'm just like rando. She's got a very like defined, documented, you get the headstones of every person that's ever been in her lineage, and like documented very clearly. I like that for people, because like it's nice to know where he came from.
I don't want to know where I come from, Bean. I don't want to fucking know.
Well,
I think it's trouble.
Well, for you, it probably is trouble.
Probably. Oh, man. Hello, Judge Jessica. What was your question, Will? I didn't see you ask one, but now you have my undivided attention. So.
What is NLR? I don't even know what that is.
Not likely.
Are you just making this up?
No, I don't do that.
DB is causing some problems.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, Will, you have 30 seconds to ask your question, because I'm going to sleep, but I don't want to not ask your question. Never leave. Thanks for hanging out, Fiend.
Oh, it's fine. I'm around.
What? You're like a combination of like a Weircat and like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, but also like, but you're not quite as like, but you're like more energetic than Eeyore. You know what I mean? You're not as subdued.
Best compliment ever. Slightly more energetic than Eeyore.
Yeah, there you go. It's slightly more energetic. You're slightly more energetic than like the most lethargic character. No.
Right. No, my nickname is actually from Winnie the Pooh, but it's not fucking Eeyore.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Roo. I'm the bouncy one.
Your nickname's Rue?
Roo. Yeah.
Well,
Like
we learned something about you tonight. Fiend, is this your favorite channel to come on? Probably. You don't have a question, Will, after all that? I literally just tried asking it 3 times.
yeah.
Westeros Will,
Question,
don't do the
Will.
thing where you cut your nose off to spite your face, because because then you don't get to ask your question. See, I'd love to know your question, or we're never gonna know, and then we're all gonna be wondering, and Fiend's not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
My favorite channel is DB's channel.
You what?
My favorite channel is DB's channel.
True. Yeah, he has.
But yeah, Will ask the question.
Will, you
do
gotta
it.
ask, man.
Do it. Ask the question.
Do it. I also don't feel like I even saw you chatting in here, so that's my bad. I've been looking, man. I done been looking.
Maybe.
Okay, so your prediction is
Maybe it's an alt.
probably. Hey, that's nice. Me too, Jessica.
I'm not. I'm very mature.
You're very mature. You are very mature.
Mm-hmm.
You're very mature. I'm pretty mature.
What's this third channel?
Let's see. There's the RNM channel. There's the Fiend channel.
Yeah.
And there's the... Yeah, it's got to be YouTube, because I really haven't seen... I don't know. I can see this message, though.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have a proxy.
We're YouTube and we're fucking with you.
Maybe you can have like a proxy ask it on your behalf.
Mar and you are starting a channel. Fuck that. Nobody wants to see that shit.
Awesome. That'll be good. All eyes on Deeb.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Oz and Delphi might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fine. He's got 3 channels.
Sure. Yeah. Me too. Well, now I'm really going to bed.
I like
we're never gonna...
question here. I asked one. Can Gull meet in private and then gag the matter?
I don't think so, right?
I mean, probably not gag it. Like a gag is a little bit more specific than that.
They can be not allowed to talk about it, right?
Yeah, they can mark things confidential.
Okay, never.
I wouldn't expect to with the part of the hearing that is not open to the public. I would not expect that we will hear what was discussed there.
Right, because otherwise it would be open to the public, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You'd think.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Speculating on that, I would. Simplest explanation, I think it might have to do with his Rick Allen's like housing, like where he's housed and what's going on with that. Like I don't think it's gonna be I don't know. I wouldn't assume more to it than that. That's probably the easiest explanation, is just that like they're just wanting to discuss certain things confidentially, like.
Yeah.
And we know that they do not want to let us know where Rick Allen is at. I don't know why they think that. Like,
Rick Allen is listed as a black man on his
Yep. Yeah, he sure the fuck is.
Why?
Because they're fucking weirdos. They're fucking weird people.
Like why?
Oh, probably to conflate.
I don't get it.
No, probably conflate that's really him.
Frozen.
You know, they want to throw something out there that's makes you question, oh, is that the right guy? No, it's not, because it says black instead of white. Like it obviously is. It's a fucking weird ass thing to do. They're weirdos. I don't know what to tell you. They're just weird people. I don't know why you would say that Richard Allen is black. Like, it's not like an easily like accidental thing to do. Like, you did that on purpose. Well, I'm just left here alone to ramble. So I'll tell you about how weird they are. DB says, OMG, Fiend. Literally, the host laughed. Yeah, I don't know. There's a spinning wheel, so like maybe there's a connection issue, but I don't know. I would like to be able to say that all things will be revealed on Friday, but like I'm gonna tell you, all things will not be revealed on Friday. Other than I'm really suspecting no 2024 trial. Am I going Friday? You know, maybe. Yes, Mandy Ray says it's my channel now. Correct. Criminality says nothing will be revealed on Friday, which is reiterating what I said, which is I agree 100%. I don't think all that much is going to be revealed. Low Light says no 2024 trial. That's what I said. I would put my money on a no 2024 trial. People want to get towards this, but just because you want it doesn't make it something that's going to happen. It's completely common in these complicated cases that things get extended and extended and extended, and I don't think anybody should stop. Like, don't believe that's not going to happen. It's highly likely to be extended. The only time that it wasn't likely is when the speedy trial was invoked, and once that's off the table, then it's just completely off the table. Like,
Yeah, but lawyer told me that if you infringe on a speedy trial, right, then
well, they did, and that's going to be an appealable issue.
that's an appellate issue.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're stacking up appellate issues. There's so many.